At 9:17 on a Tuesday morning, Evelyn Ward called to ask why a stranger knew she was moving on October 14th. He knew the date, Leah. He knew I'm going to Brookside. He even knew I'm not taking the dining set. I stopped with my key halfway into the office door. What stranger? Travis something. He says he does hauling. He said your brother gave him my information. Behind me, Simone was balancing 2 coffees and a canvas bag full of label makers. She raised her eyebrows at the words, "Your brother." "I didn't give Ryan permission to contact you," I said. "Well, I assume that." Evelyn lowered her voice, although she lived alone. The man wasn't rude. That almost made it worse. She had hired quiet moves after her husband died, when opening a closet could ruin her whole afternoon. I knew which blue chair was going to Brookside and which dishes were being divided between 2 cousins in Arizona. I knew where she hid cash because she didn't trust banks, and I knew never to say the word downsizing around her. Did he mention anything besides the dining set? He said Ryan had a whole list of people who were relocating. My key slipped against the lock. The list existed in 2 places, on my password-protected laptop and in a locked drawer 3 feet from the shelves Ryan had helped me build. I got Evelyn off the phone with a promise to handle it. Simone passed me my coffee without a word. "Say it," I told her. "Your brother is creative." "That's not what your face said." My face said, "I hope he enjoys eating that list." The office was a converted insurance suite between a nail salon and a place that repaired vacuum cleaners. Quiet Moves had gold lettering on the front window, 2 desks, 1 meeting table, and a supply room so narrow that Ryan had called it a hallway with ambitions. 3 weeks earlier, he had spent a Saturday installing shelves in there. He'd arrived 40 minutes late with lumber, a drill, and breakfast sandwiches, then refused to let me pay him. "You covered my transmission last year," he'd said. "You paid me back, mostly. You still owe me $300. He had grinned. "Then these are very expensive shelves." They were good shelves, too. Level, solid, built exactly high enough for our folded moving blankets. Ryan could be like that. He could do something thoughtful enough to make you ashamed you had ever doubted him. Then use your gratitude as a permanent line of credit. I unlocked the drawer. The paper files were still there, their tabs in order. Nothing looked disturbed. Simone set her bag down. Maybe he gave Travis only Evelyn's number. He knew Brookside. Evelyn could have told him. She barely tells me anything until I ask 6 different ways. That is true. She made me guess where she wanted the toaster for 20 minutes. She doesn't own a toaster. Exactly. I opened my laptop and checked the client database. There were no unfamiliar logins, though that didn't mean much. Ryan had been in the office alone for perhaps 15 minutes while I drove to the hardware store for screws. I remembered coming back and finding him at my desk, eating chips over my keyboard. "You said you were looking up a measurement," I said aloud. Simone leaned over. "What?" "Nothing." My phone rang again. This time it was Dennis Cole, whose mother had moved into a condominium in May. Dennis spoke like every sentence was the final item in a meeting agenda. "I received a call from someone offering retirement planning," he said. "He referenced your company and had my direct number. We don't offer financial services. I'm aware." "Did he give you a name?" "Brent Haywood. He said Ryan Mercer was putting together a preferred provider network." I closed my eyes. Dennis continued. "Is Ryan Mercer associated with Quiet Moves? He's my brother." There was a silence long enough for that fact to become embarrassing. "Is he associated with the company?" "No." "Then you have a problem." After we hung up, Simone pulled her chair around to my side of the desk. "Call Ryan." "I'm going to." "You're holding your phone like you're waiting for it to confess." I called. It rang twice before going to voicemail. I tried again and got the same result. Ryan's voicemail still said, "You know what to do," as if leaving a message had been his invention. I texted, "Call me now. This is about my clients." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, then returned. "Can't. Meeting." "What meeting?" Simone asked when I showed her. "I don't know. He might be having coffee near a conference table." She took my phone and typed, "A client is threatening legal action." I snatched it back before she could send it. Nobody threatened legal action. Not yet. We're not using fake lawsuits to get my brother's attention. Fine. Tell him Mom fell. Simone. I'm brainstorming. I sent, Ryan, people you know are contacting my clients. I need an explanation in the next 10 minutes. He replied with a thumbs up. Simone stared at the screen. I've never wanted to break a thumb before. We spent the next hour calling every current client whose information might have been visible in my database. I kept the language careful. Had you received any unexpected calls? Had anyone used my name? Please don't agree to services until you speak with me. Most people said no. A few sounded confused about why I was asking. One woman wanted to spend 15 minutes telling me about a suspicious postcard from a dentist. Then Marlene Cho said a painter had left her 2 voicemails and claimed I recommended him. By 11:30, we had 3 names, Travis, Brent, and someone called Shane, who apparently painted houses but had no website. Ryan's friends, I said. You know them? I know of them. Travis helped him move that couch he bought from the hotel liquidation place. The couch with one short leg? He said it had character. It had a folded pizza box under it. At noon, Ryan finally called. Hey, he said, bright and casual. There was music behind him and the clatter of dishes. What's on fire? Did you give my client's information to Travis? A pause. Not a guilty pause. More like he was deciding how much context I deserved. I told him about some people who might need hauling. How did he get Evelyn Ward's phone number? I gave it to him. The ordinary way he said it knocked the next sentence out of me. You gave him her phone number. He asked for leads. Why would you have leads from my business? Okay, don't say it like I broke into the Pentagon. Where did you get the list? I saw it when I was helping at the office. You saw a database on my computer and copied it. I exported some names. You left the computer open. I looked at the laptop. The screen had gone black, reflecting my face and Simone's behind me. How many names? I don't know. 40? 50? Simone mouthed something that would have ended our lease if the nail salon heard it. Who has it? Some guys I'm working with. Ryan, who has my client list? Travis, Brent, Shane, Marcus, maybe Luis, but I don't think he opened the email. You emailed it? Well, yeah, I wasn't going to write it out by hand. I stood so fast my chair hit the filing cabinet. Those people trusted me with private information. They're not selling kidneys, Leah. They offer services. Brent sells investment products. Which people need. You gave him names of recently retired clients. I gave everyone the relevant contacts. It was organized. That detail almost made me laugh. Somewhere inside my rage was a tiny, amazed part of me, picturing Ryan sorting my clients into categories, proud of his efficiency. You're going to call every person you sent it to, I said. You're going to tell them they never had my permission. They cannot use my name and they need to delete everything. Can we not do this while I'm sitting with people? Are you with them now? I'm having lunch with Travis and Marcus. Perfect. Put me on speaker. No, put me on speaker, Ryan. His voice changed. The brightness disappeared. You know, this is why it's impossible to help you. Everything has to be exactly your way. You copied my client list. I'm trying to build something. You have contacts sitting there, and these guys need work. Your clients need people. That's called a network. It's called my business. Oh, come on. You don't haul furniture. You don't paint. You definitely don't give financial advice, and neither should Brent. Simone made a choking sound that might have been a laugh. Ryan went quiet. Then he said, I knew you'd get territorial. That word hit an older bruise. Territorial was what Mom called me when I didn't want Ryan using my car. Selfish was what she called me when I stopped lending him money. Dramatic was what she called me when he missed a job I had arranged and I refused to lie to the client. Delete the list, I said. Today. I'll talk to them. Not talk. Tell. I said I'll handle it. You told people I recommended them. I said we were connected. We are connected. You're my brother. That doesn't make your friends my vendors. He exhaled directly into the phone. I have to go. If one more client gets a call, I said, I'll handle it, Leah. He hung up. For a few seconds, the office felt unnaturally quiet. Even the vacuum repair shop next door had stopped testing whatever machine usually screamed through the wall. Simone reached for my phone. "What are you doing?" Calling him back. He won't answer. He'll answer me. He's a little afraid of me. He met you once. I made an impression. I kept the phone. We need to contact everyone on the list. We don't know which version he exported. I did, or I thought I did. I opened the database and found the last export date, 3 weeks earlier, Saturday, 1:42 p.m. I had been at the hardware store buying screws for the shelves he built me for free. The file included 63 names. By 3, my voice felt scraped hollow. We called, left messages, sent emails, and made notes beside every response. The hardest part was sounding calm enough not to scare people while being honest enough not to insult them. At 4:15, Mom called. "Ryan says you're upset." I looked at Simone. She pointed at the phone and silently formed the word speaker. "I didn't put Mom on speaker. He gave my client list to his friends," I said. "I know. He told me." That stopped me. And I think he understands that he should have asked first. He needs to retrieve it. Well, he can't climb into their computers. He can tell them to delete it. He said you embarrassed him in front of his friends. I wasn't in front of his friends. He refused to put me on speaker. You were shouting. I wasn't shouting. Simone tilted her head, politely disputing that. Mom sighed. I could picture her at the kitchen island with a mug of tea she would reheat 4 times and never finish. Leah, he was trying to share an opportunity. Whose opportunity? Why does everything have to have an owner with you? My client list has an owner. That's a very cold way to talk about people. For one dizzy second, she had me. Mom was good at finding one awkward word and putting it on trial while the whole crime walked out the side door. You know what I mean? I know you have plenty of work and Ryan is trying to get on his feet. He's been getting on his feet for 15 years. That's unkind. It's also true. Her voice dropped. Your brother admires what you've built. Has that ever occurred to you? No. What occurred to me was that he copied it. Dad said something in the background. Mom covered the phone, but I heard my name and the phrase "calm down." I couldn't tell which one of us he meant. We'll discuss this Sunday, Mom said. There's nothing to discuss. He has to delete the list. You're making a family matter into a business matter. He made my business a family matter. Leah. That one word carried all my assigned roles. Older sister, reasonable daughter, person least likely to collapse if asked to swallow one more thing. My other line began ringing. Evelyn Ward again. I have to go, I said. Don't call Ryan until you can be constructive. I looked at the notes covering my desk. 63 names written in my handwriting, 3 angry messages waiting, and my brother's number sitting untouched in Mom's phone. I didn't call him, I said. You did. Mom missed the point so completely that she agreed. Yes, she said, because somebody had to. Evelyn didn't say hello when I answered. He's here. I stood up. Who's there? That Travis man. Not inside. He's in the parking lot. Did you invite him? I told him I wasn't interested. He said he was in the neighborhood and could give me a free estimate. Simone was already grabbing her keys. Lock your door, I said. Don't go downstairs. We're coming over. I'm not frightened, Leah. I'm angry. You can be both with the door locked. Evelyn made a displeased sound, but I heard the deadbolt turn. Brookside was 20 minutes from our office if every driver in town briefly discovered generosity. None did. Simone drove while I called Travis. He answered with a cheerful, "This is Trav. This is Leah Mercer from Quiet Moves." "Oh, hey, yeah, Ryan's sister. I understand you're at Evelyn Ward's building." "Right. She's got a dining set coming out, maybe some garage stuff. I figured I'd take a look and give her a number. She told you she wasn't interested." She sounded unsure. She said no. "I'm not pressuring anybody. I'm sitting in my truck." "Then start the truck." Simone glanced at me. That was good. Travis laughed as though I had made a joke for his benefit. Ryan said, "You might be a little protective at first." "Protective of what?" "Your clients," which I respect. But this could be good for everybody. You are not a quiet moves vendor. I did not recommend you. You do not have permission to contact anyone on the list Ryan gave you." The amusement drained out of his voice. "That's between you and your brother. No, it became between you and me when you showed up after a client declined your service. I already bought gas to come over here." I looked out at the stalled line of cars ahead of us. "That's not Evelyn's expense." He muttered something I didn't catch. "Leave the property, delete the file, and don't contact her again. Ryan said these were warm leads. They're people. Leads are people, not yours." He hung up. Simone tapped the steering wheel. I wish I could put that on a mug. When we reached Brookside, Travis's truck was gone. Evelyn opened her door before I finished knocking. She was 5 feet tall, silver-haired, and wearing a red cardigan with one button fastened wrong. She looked less frightened than insulted, which was her preferred response to most forms of distress. "You didn't have to race over," she said. "We didn't race," Simone said. "The fastest we went was 32. Evelyn let us in. Half her living room had already been packed, leaving pale rectangles on the walls where pictures had hung. Her husband's recliner was still by the window even though she had decided not to take it. She kept changing the subject whenever we mentioned it. On the coffee table sat a yellow legal pad. Travis's name and number were written across the top. "He said your brother was creating a team," she told me. "He made it sound as if you were too busy to manage everything yourself. I'm not creating a team with Ryan. I gathered that from your face." I sat beside her. "He copied information from my office without permission. We're contacting everyone affected." "How much information?" "Your phone number, address, move date, destination, and service category." "Service category? It says full move coordination. Does it say widow?" "No." She looked toward the recliner. It might as well. There was nothing useful to say to that. Simone moved quietly around the room, checking the locks and peering through the blinds. She was good at giving people somewhere else to look when a conversation became too exposed. Evelyn folded the legal pad over so Travis's number disappeared. "I trusted you because Claudia Bell said you never made her feel foolish." I remember Claudia. She kept 37 empty flower pots. 41. The corner of Evelyn's mouth moved, but it wasn't quite a smile. "I'm sorry," I said. "This happened because I gave someone access to my office. I should have protected your information better. You gave your brother access." "Yes." That's not always the same as giving someone access. I wasn't sure whether she was excusing me or warning me. She looked at the labeled boxes stacked beside the dining room. "I don't want any vendors I haven't already met." "Understood. And I want the rest of our schedule printed, not emailed. I'll bring it tomorrow. I don't need it tomorrow, I know." That earned me a real smile, brief and tired. We stayed long enough to make tea. Neither of us drank. Before I left, Evelyn touched my wrist. "I'm not canceling," she said, "but don't make me regret defending you to myself." In the elevator, Simone stared at the floor numbers. "That was brutal," she said. She stayed. That wasn't the brutal part. Back at the office, there was a voicemail from Marcus Dale. I recognized the name as one of Ryan's more stable friends. Marcus owned a small flooring company and had once spent an entire Thanksgiving repairing Mom's garbage disposal after Dad insisted he could fix it with a butter knife. I called him first. "Leah, I'm sorry," he said immediately. I deleted the spreadsheet. "Did you contact anyone?" "No." I opened it, saw the notes, and figured I should talk to you before I did anything. "What did Ryan tell you? That you were putting together a network? He said you didn't want to deal with the sales part, so he was helping." I pressed my fingers against my forehead. "I don't have a sales part." "Yeah. I understand that now. Who else received it? Me, Travis, Brent, Shane, and Luis. Ryan sent one email. Did it look like it came from my company? No. It came from his regular email. Subject line was Mercer Home Network Leads. Mercer Home Network. He had used our last name, which was technically also his, and somehow still felt like he had taken something off my desk. Did he say I approved it? Not exactly. What did he say exactly? Marcus hesitated. He said you'd come around once you saw it working. Simone, listening from her desk, closed her eyes. "Can you ask the others to delete it?" I said. "I can ask, but Ryan needs to do that, I agree." Another pause. "For what it's worth," Marcus said, "I thought you knew." "I believe you. I should have checked." "Yes." He gave a surprised little laugh. "Fair enough." After we hung up, I added his name to our notes and wrote deleted beside it. "1," Simone said. "Only 4 horsemen left. Luis may not have opened it. 3 horsemen and 1 guy standing near a horse." My phone buzzed with a text from Ryan. "Marcus is pissed. Thanks." I handed the phone to Simone. She read it. "I'm trying to think of a response that won't get entered into evidence someday." "There is no evidence." "There could be if you let me answer." I typed, "Did you tell everyone to delete the file?" His reply came quickly. "I told them there's been a misunderstanding." "There was no misunderstanding. You lied to them." "That's dramatic." Travis went to Evelyn's home after she told him no. He was offering an estimate. I stared at those words until they blurred. Ryan had always been able to make every crossed boundary sound like a helpful gesture with bad public relations. Call him. Tell him to delete the list. Then call Brent, Shane, and Luis. "I'm working. So am I." He didn't answer. At 6, Simone ordered sandwiches from the deli downstairs. We ate at our desks while checking names against call logs. Every conversation created 2 more tasks. Some clients wanted written confirmation. Others asked whether their addresses were safe, a question that made my chest tighten every time. We changed passwords, removed local downloads, and created a new sign-in process that Simone described as Ryan-proof unless he develops patience. At 7:30, she shut my laptop. "We're done for tonight." "We're not. You've read the same email 4 times. I'm being thorough. You're blinking one eye at a time." I reached for the laptop. She moved it farther away. "I'm technically your boss. Then write me up tomorrow." The office phone rang. We both froze. It was absurd how quickly a normal sound had become threatening. I answered with my company voice. "Quiet moves, this is Leah." A woman said, "Hi, I got a message from someone named Brent who said you suggested he call." I pulled the notes back toward me. "May I ask your name?" "Gloria Patel. She was not a current client. Her consultation had been scheduled for Thursday. Mrs. Patel, I did not recommend Brent. Did he say where he got your number?" "He said from your preferred provider group. I'm very sorry he received your information without my permission." There was a long silence. "I haven't hired you yet. I understand. So how does your brother have my number?" My stomach dropped. I looked at the export date again. The file wasn't limited to active clients. It included prospective consultations. Simone saw my face and pulled her chair closer. "I'm reviewing exactly how that happened," I said, "but you're right to ask." Gloria's voice cooled. "I think I should cancel Thursday." "I understand. I hope you do." When the line disconnected, Simone wrote Gloria Patel, canceled on the legal pad. Neither of us tried to soften the word. My phone rang before I could move. "Dad." I let it go once, then answered. "Your mother says Sunday might be tense," he said. "Did she say why?" "She says you and Ryan have a business disagreement. He gave private client information to his friends. I told her that wasn't smart." "Did you tell him?" "Well, no. I haven't spoken to him." Of course he hadn't. Dad cleared his throat. "Your mother wants everybody to come Sunday and talk calmly. She's making the roast." Mom's roast was not a meal. It was a negotiation tactic with gravy. "I don't know if I can." "Leah, don't make this bigger than it needs to be." Across from me, Simone stopped writing. "I have spent all day calling people because Ryan made it this big. I know, honey, I know. But your mother's already overwhelmed with the move. She needs this family settled. She needs Ryan to delete the list. I'm sure he will." "Has he told you that?" "No, but he's not unreasonable." I looked at Gloria Patel's name and the single hard word beside it. Dad continued carefully, "Just come Sunday. We'll get everybody in the same room. You could call him tonight." "And say what?" The question was sincere. That was almost worse. Ask him what he did, I said. Ask him who he sent it to. Ask him what he plans to do about it. Dad was quiet. Then he said, "Your mother thinks it would mean more coming from you. It has come from me." You know how Ryan gets when he feels cornered. I had heard that sentence after missed shifts, unpaid loans, dented cars, and one Christmas when Ryan disappeared for 4 hours because Mom asked whether he had brought anything for dinner. It always meant the same thing. Ryan's reaction was weather, and the rest of us were responsible for shelter. "I'll think about Sunday," I said. "Good. And your mother asked if you could bring that salad Ryan likes." I almost laughed. Of course she did. After we hung up, Simone studied me. "Are you bringing the salad?" "No." "Good. I'll probably bring something." "Leah." "Not the salad." My computer chimed before she could answer. A new email appeared from Catherine Bell, the largest relocation we had scheduled that fall. 3 months of planning, a full house inventory, 6 vendor bookings. The subject line was simple: change of plans. I opened it. Catherine had received a call from Brent. Given the apparent circulation of her personal information, she no longer felt comfortable moving forward with quiet moves. She wished me well. She wanted confirmation that her deposit would be returned. Simone read over my shoulder and sat down hard. For the first time all day, neither of us made a joke. Simone reached for the mouse, then stopped before touching anything. "Don't answer tonight. I have to acknowledge it. You have to avoid writing an email that sounds like you're apologizing for the invention of brothers." Catherine Bell's deposit had already gone toward reserving movers, an estate sale team, and temporary storage. I could return it. That wasn't the problem. The problem was the calendar we had held for her since June, and the other work we had declined to protect those dates. Catherine was Claudia Bell's younger sister. Claudia and her 41 flower pots were the reason Catherine had trusted me without interviewing anyone else. I read the email again. "She wants confirmation," I said. "Confirm receipt. Tell her you'll call tomorrow. She may not answer tomorrow. She may not answer tonight if you scare her away with a 6-paragraph confession." I don't write 6-paragraph emails. Simone gave me a look. I typed 3 sentences, deleted 4 others, and promised to call at 9. Then I opened the financial schedule. "Don't," Simone said. "I need to know. You already know." "It's bad. That's not a number. No number gets better at 8:15 at night." The contracted fee for Catherine's move was just over $18,000, most of which would have gone to labor, rentals, and vendors. What remained paid our rent and salaries through a season when people like to postpone major moves until after the holidays. It wasn't enough to destroy quiet moves. It was enough to make every small expense feel newly personal. Simone watched me calculate. "If you cut my hours, I'm stealing the good label maker." "I'm not cutting your hours." "You say that now." "I'll sell the copier first." "The copier hates us. It would be relieved." I closed the schedule. "Go home." "So should you. I need to process the refund." "Tomorrow." She asked for confirmation. "You gave it." I said I'd confirm the amount. "You also need sleep." "I'm not sleeping." "That doesn't mean you get to stay here and make spreadsheets about it." I looked at her. "I appreciate you." That sounded like a farewell. It wasn't. "Good, because I'm still taking the label maker." She left at 8:40. I stayed until 10. Catherine answered at exactly 9 the next morning, as if she had scheduled our conversation into a 10-minute block. "I received your email," she said. "I wanted to apologize directly." "I'm sure you do. I also want you to know we've contacted everyone who received the file." "Have they all confirmed deletion?" "No." "Then you haven't contained it." Her wording was precise and fair. I hated it anyway. "Not yet," I said. Brent knew I was selling the house. He knew approximately what I'd receive for it. That wasn't in our database. He mentioned the neighborhood and estimated. That sounded like Brent. He had once spent an entire Labor Day cookout explaining to Dad why keeping money in a checking account was letting inflation eat lunch first. "Catherine," I didn't recommend him. I've never used him professionally. He said your brother was handling partnerships. He isn't. But your brother had my information. Yes. Silence gathered between us. I could have told her Ryan was careless, not dangerous. I could have explained that he installed 2 good shelves and took one terrible liberty. I could have said family makes access feel ordinary until it suddenly isn't. None of that would change what she needed from me. "You're right to be concerned," I said. "I'll return the full deposit today. I'm sorry about this." The sympathy in her voice hurt more than anger would have. So am I. After the call, I canceled 6 vendor reservations. 4 were understanding. 1 charged us a fee. The mover, Hank, said, "Family trouble?" Because I had worked with him long enough that he could hear it in the spaces between my words. Business trouble. Same thing half the time. At 11, Ryan texted, "Mom says you lost a job?" I didn't answer. He called 3 minutes later. "I'm in the middle of something," I said. "I heard that Bell woman canceled. Catherine Bell. How much was the job? Why?" "I'm trying to understand why everybody's acting like I burned down your office. You don't need the dollar amount to understand. If it was a small consultation, she probably would have canceled anyway. It wasn't small." "How not small?" $18,000. He whistled. "That was revenue," I said, "not profit." Still. I waited for an apology. Instead, he said, "You refunded her? She no longer trusted us. You could have talked her down." I laughed once because there was no polite sound available. "I'm serious," he said. "People get nervous. You reassure them. Isn't that part of what you do? You created the reason she was nervous, and you're supposed to be good at handling that." The sentence landed so cleanly, I almost admired it. Did Brent delete the list? I sent everybody a message. What did it say? That we should pause until you and I get aligned. We are not getting aligned. You haven't even heard the proposal. There is no proposal. That's the problem, Leah. You decided it was a disaster before you asked what I'm building. You copied names out of my database. I connected compatible services. You told Marcus I didn't want to handle sales. He misunderstood. He repeated your words. Are we really doing court testimony now? I gripped the phone harder. Tell them I never approved it. Tell them not to contact anyone else. Tell them to delete it. I'm not calling 5 grown men and making myself look like an idiot because you panicked. You made yourself look like an idiot. "See you Sunday," he said. He hung up before I could tell him I hadn't agreed to go. Mom called twice that afternoon. The first time, she asked whether I wanted mashed potatoes or roasted potatoes with dinner. The second time, she asked if I had reconsidered the salad. I said roasted and no. By Sunday, I had spoken to 57 of the 63 people on the export. 4 had been contacted. 2 were angry, 1 was confused, and 1 wanted Brent's number because she had been meaning to review her retirement accounts anyway. Human beings were inconvenient that way. They refused to arrange themselves into a clean moral argument. Lewis confirmed he deleted the email without opening the attachment. Shane said he had never called anyone, but wouldn't say whether he deleted it. Brent left me 2 voicemails about finding a collaborative path forward. Travis sent no response. Ryan did nothing. I arrived at Mom and Dad's at 5:30 with bakery rolls. The house smelled like rosemary, onions, and the lemon furniture polish Mom used whenever she expected conflict. Stacks of flattened moving boxes leaned against the dining room wall. Colored stickers covered the furniture, green for the townhome, yellow for donation, red for storage. Dad opened the door and examined the paper bag. "No salad?" "No. Your mother said there would be salad. Then I'm sure there will be." He lowered his voice. I called Ryan. That surprised me enough that I stepped all the way inside. What did he say? He said he sent a correction. He sent a message telling them to pause. Dad looked tired. That's not how he described it. Did you ask to see it? No. Of course not. Leah, I'm trying. I wanted to give him credit. That was one of my worst habits. Treating any movement from the men in my family as distance traveled instead of distance remaining. Mom came from the kitchen carrying a serving spoon. "You're late. It's 5:32. I said 5:30. She looked into the bag. Her mouth tightened when she saw rolls instead of the chopped apple salad Ryan liked. "Those are nice," she said, which meant they weren't. Ryan arrived at 6:10 with a bottle of red wine and no apology. Mom lit up. "There he is. Traffic," he said, kissing her cheek. "You live 12 minutes away," Dad said. "Sunday traffic." Dad looked at me as if I had personally requested that he challenge Ryan and should now appreciate the result. We sat at the same dining table where Mom had once made Ryan and me sign a handwritten treaty after he sold my bicycle to a neighbor. I was 15. He was 12. The treaty required me to stop holding hostility, and Ryan had to give me $20. The bicycle had been worth $80. Mom passed the roast before anyone spoke about the list. Ryan complimented the gravy. Dad asked about basketball. I watched Mom place the crisp end piece of roast on Ryan's plate without asking. She had done that since we were young. I didn't even like the end piece. I only noticed that she knew he did. Finally, Dad put down his fork. "Ryan, did those men delete Leah's information?" Ryan chewed slowly. "I told you I handled it." "That isn't an answer," I said. Mom's spoon struck her plate. "Can we try not to interrogate?" "I asked him a question," Dad said. It was a small sentence, but Mom looked at him as though he had switched teams during warm-ups. Ryan drank his wine. Marcus and Luis deleted it. "The others haven't confirmed." "Because you told them to pause," I said, "not delete it. I'm not going to pretend the entire idea was wrong. The idea isn't the issue. The list is. They're connected." "No, they aren't." Mom reached for the potatoes. "This could have been avoided if you'd included him from the beginning. In my business, in opportunities. You know so many people. Ryan knows people, too. Then he can use the people he knows. He was sharing resources. Mine." There's that word again. "What word?" "Mine." Ryan leaned back. "This is what I was trying to explain. Mercer Home Network could feed work both ways. Movers, painters, organizers, financial people." "Financial people?" Dad said. "Why would somebody moving need Ryan's friend in their finances? Because moving creates liquidity." Even Mom paused at that. I looked at Ryan. "Did Brent write that sentence for you? He's good at what he does." He cold called a woman using information she gave me. She canceled an $18,000 job. Dad's eyes widened. Mom stopped serving potatoes. Ryan's face changed, but only for a second. Mom recovered first. $18,000 in profit? "No." "Well, then that's misleading." I stared at her. "What?" she said. "I'm trying to understand the actual loss. The actual loss is that she trusted me before Ryan gave her information away." "I didn't give it away," Ryan said. "I offered it to people who could add value. You keep using business phrases like they disinfect what you did." Dad rubbed his forehead. "Ryan, you should have asked." "Thank you," I said. "But," he continued, "I don't believe he meant harm." There it was. 1 inch forward, 2 inches safely back. Mom nodded. "Exactly. Nobody meant harm. So why are we treating this like betrayal?" "Because it was." Ryan's chair scraped the floor. "You want me to beg. I want you to make 5 phone calls. I'm not humiliating myself in front of my friends. You humiliated me in front of my clients. That's different." The room went still. Ryan seemed to hear himself only after the words were out, but he didn't take them back. Mom reached for my hand. I moved mine before she touched it. "Leah," she said softly, "you're stronger than this. It was meant as comfort. It always was." I folded my napkin and set it beside my plate. Mom's eyes narrowed. "Where are you going?" "Home." "We haven't discussed the move." "What about it?" "I need you here Tuesday to finish the room plan." "I can't be here Tuesday. I'm repairing my business." Ryan made a quiet, disgusted sound. Mom looked from him to me. "Then perhaps Ryan can take over some of the move. His network needs a chance, and apparently you need less responsibility." She expected me to argue. I could see everyone preparing for it. Instead, I stood and picked up my purse. "Okay," I said. For the first time all night, Ryan looked nervous. Mom blinked. Okay? Ryan can take over the move. I said perhaps he could take over some of it. You said apparently I need less responsibility. That was not an invitation to walk away. Ryan put both hands flat on the table. Nobody's walking away. I am, I said. Dad glanced toward the kitchen as though an answer might be cooling beside the roast. Maybe we should all take a breath. I'm breathing fine. Mom stood. Sit down. We haven't had dessert. That was her answer to every kind of fracture. Sit down. Eat something sweet. Let digestion blur the edges until nobody could remember who owed whom an apology. I'll send Ryan everything I've already completed, I said. The furniture measurements, the donation inventory, the townhome floor plan. You'll send it, Mom repeated. It's our information. Yes, I'll give it to the person you chose to handle it. That person is still sitting here, Ryan said. I looked at him. Congratulations. He followed me outside before I reached my car. Leah. I kept walking. Would you stop for 1 second? I turned. The porch light cast him in that yellow, forgiving glow Mom liked. From a distance, he looked exactly like what she believed he was. Rumpled, well-meaning, one good chance away from becoming himself. You can't just dump this on me, he said. I didn't. Yes, you did. Mom did. You agreed with her. I agreed I could be involved. She said, take over. She said some. Then go back inside and tell her what amount of some you meant. His jaw tightened. You know how she gets. I do. She's stressed about leaving the house. I know, and you've already done most of it. Not even close. You have the plans. You know the vendors. All I'd need is for you to keep things moving in the background. I stared at him. What? He said. You want to take over in the foreground while I keep working in the background. That isn't what I said. It is exactly what you said. He shoved his hands into his pockets. Why do you always have to phrase things in the worst possible way? Why do you keep doing things that only sound acceptable before they're phrased accurately? Behind him, the curtain moved. Mom was watching us from the dining room. Ryan lowered his voice. She doesn't really want me running the move. Then she shouldn't have offered you the job. This isn't a job, there are parents. That's convenient. What does that mean? It means when I do it, it's family. When you do it, it's an opportunity. He looked toward the house, checking whether Mom could hear. I'm trying to build something, he said, and I'm trying to keep what I built. I didn't take anything from you. Catherine Bell did. That was her choice. Yes, after your choice. He rubbed the back of his neck. That gesture usually arrived right before he became either charming or cruel. I had seen both versions. Just call Mom tomorrow, he said. Tell her you were angry. I was angry. Tell her you overreacted. I didn't. Fine. Tell her you don't want strangers handling their stuff. Your friends aren't strangers to you. You know what I mean. I opened my car door. Ryan caught the top of it, not stopping me, just keeping the conversation from closing. We both know you're not going to let their move fall apart. The certainty in his voice was worse than the insult. I pulled the door out of his hand. Then I guess you have nothing to worry about. At the office Monday morning, Simone handed me coffee and said, How was the roast tribunal? Ryan is coordinating my parents' move. She stopped walking. Does Ryan know? He was informed. And your parents agreed to this? My mother proposed it. That wasn't my question. I set my bag down. I'm sending him the existing plan. She studied me for a moment. Are you sending him your vendor contacts? The vendors already listed for Mom and Dad, yes. Not my full directory. Good. I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking we need a lock on the supply room. We already have one. I'm thinking we need a lock on Ryan. My inbox contained 2 confirmations of deletion, one demand from Brent for a professional conversation, and a message from Mom titled Moving Tasks. It listed 12 items, including finish room plan, confirm storage unit, arrange donation pickup, and ask Hank about truck availability. At the bottom, she had written, Ryan will be included in all decisions going forward. I forwarded the message to Ryan with one sentence. These are the tasks Mom wants you to coordinate. He called before I could open the next email. You're being petty. I'm being inclusive. You know Hank, his number is in the file. He gives you a better rate. He gives my company a contracted rate based on volume. So call him as your company. No. You'd make our parents pay more to prove a point? I'll give them his public number. If he offers them a discount, that's between them and Hank. They shouldn't have to negotiate this stuff. Then negotiate for them. I don't know what a move like this should cost. That's why people hire professionals. They're not hiring you. You're their daughter. Correct. He went quiet. There were moments when Ryan understood perfectly. They were easy to miss because he usually used them to choose a better argument. Mom didn't mean for you to stop helping, he said. She told you to take over. She was upset. So was I. That's different. He heard it that time. His voice softened. Leah, come on. No, I'm asking for help. You asked for my clients too. This has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with it. You think my work is a cupboard. You open it, take what you need, and get offended when I ask why you're in my kitchen. That's a weird metaphor. It's Monday morning. You get what you get. Simone covered a laugh with a cough. I need the move file, he said. I'll send it by noon, and the list of people you usually use. The vendors already considered for Mom and Dad are in it. What about the others? No. Why? Because I'm not handing you another list. He hung up. At 11:30, Brent called the office. Simone answered, listened, then held the receiver away from her ear. Your favorite financial professional. I took it. Leah, Brent said warmly, as though we had left a pleasant lunch unfinished. I'm glad I caught you. You have called 4 times. I prefer persistence to misunderstanding. This isn't a misunderstanding. I think it is. Ryan presented this as an emerging partnership. Ryan lied. Brent paused. That's a strong word. It's also a short one. Delete the file. I've already invested time qualifying the contacts. You mean calling them. I mean identifying who may benefit from a conversation. You had a conversation with Catherine Bell. She was receptive until she became concerned about internal confusion. She canceled her move with me. I'm sorry to hear that, but if I may, the real issue is messaging. We should meet and establish a unified explanation. There is no we. Ryan said the family discussed it last night. My grip tightened on the receiver. What exactly did Ryan tell you? That you have reservations, but the concept remains viable. He said you'd be more comfortable after seeing results. I looked across the office at Simone. When did he say that? This morning. Of course. Ryan had left dinner, asked me to help him run our parents' move, and then woken up still selling access to my business. Brent, listen carefully. You are not associated with Quiet Moves. You do not have my recommendation. If you contact anyone else using my name, I will personally tell that person how you got their information. That sounds unnecessarily hostile. It's accurate messaging. He exhaled. You and Ryan need to resolve your family dynamic without involving professionals. You called my clients. Potential clients. That distinction does not help you. I hung up before he could turn another noun into a loophole. Simone swiveled in her chair. Please tell me Ryan didn't tell him dinner fixed everything. He said the concept remains viable. Did the roast have drugs in it? My office door opened before I could answer. Mom stood there holding a glass container wrapped in a dish towel. She wore a pale blue sweater, and the worried expression she used when concern and disapproval had agreed to share a ride. I brought you soup, she said. Simone looked at me, then at the supply room. I'm going to inventory tape. We inventoried it Friday, I said. We have complicated tape. She disappeared. Mom placed the container on my desk. Chicken soup, homemade, with the wide noodles I liked. She had skimmed the fat from the top because I hated the texture. There was no version of my mother that did not know how to care for me. There was also no version that cared without trying to move a piece on the board. You look tired, she said. I am. Did you eat today? Yes. What? Food, Mom. She touched the edge of Catherine's canceled schedule. Your father says that job was important. It was. Ryan feels terrible. Did he tell you that? He doesn't have to say everything. He told Brent this morning that our partnership is still viable. Mom's eyes shifted. I don't know anything about Brent. You know Ryan gave him my clients. I know Ryan made a mistake. The word was progress. Small, reluctant progress. But I heard it. He needs to correct it, I said. He will if you stop attacking him long enough to let him. And there it went. Mom opened her purse and took out a folded sheet of graph paper. The townhome floor plan. My handwriting covered the margins with measurements. Sofa 36 deep, bookcases 72 wide, dining table too large unless leaf removed. I need this finished by Thursday, she said. Ryan says he can't make decisions until he knows what fits. Then Ryan can finish it. You know he doesn't do floor plans. He runs a home network. Don't be sarcastic. I'm not taking the move back. Nobody asked you to take it back. I'm asking you to quietly make sure he doesn't miss anything. I looked at the soup, the graph paper, and my mother's hopeful face. You want him to be responsible? I said, as long as I'm responsible for him. That is not what I said. It was Ryan's sentence in her voice. I slid the floor plan back across the desk. Mom left it there. Then she kissed my forehead, told me the soup needed refrigeration, and walked out without taking the paper. For 10 full minutes, I worked around it. Then I picked it up, carried it to the supply room, and placed it on top of the expensive shelves Ryan had built. Simone found the floor plan 5 minutes later. She stood in the supply room doorway holding it by one corner. Is this evidence or recycling? Neither. Your mother forgot it. She left it. For you to finish. Yes, and you put it on Ryan's shelves. I didn't plan the symbolism. Your subconscious has excellent staging. I took the paper from her and flattened the crease Mom had made when she folded it into her purse. I had already measured every major piece of furniture in my parents' house. The unfinished section was the guest room, where Mom wanted to fit a queen bed, 2 nightstands, a sewing cabinet, and a cedar chest into a space barely large enough for the bed. I slipped the floor plan into a clear sleeve. Are you doing it? Simone asked. No, I'm including it in the handoff. By noon, I had assembled everything that already existed. The inventory, photographs, measurements, donation categories, contact information for the storage facility Mom had toured, and notes from the townhome manager about elevator access. I converted it all to a read-only file and sent it to Mom, Dad, and Ryan. The email said what had been completed and what remained open. It also said that no mover, hauler, painter, or storage company had been formally booked. Simone read over my shoulder. You should add that you aren't supervising. They know that. They know many things they don't believe. I added one sentence. Ryan will coordinate all remaining decisions directly with Carol and Martin. Beautiful, she said. Clear, bloodless. Like a note left by a very organized ghost. Then we drafted the client notice. That took longer. I didn't want to frighten people who had never been contacted. Simone argued that hearing the truth from us was better than hearing a sales pitch from Brent while eating dinner. She was right, which annoyed me because it created more work. We kept the notice short. A third party had accessed contact information without authorization. Quiet Moves had no new partnerships or preferred provider group. Clients should disregard unexpected solicitations and contact us directly with questions. We were reviewing our security practices and would confirm once every known copy had been deleted. I did not name Ryan. Simone wanted to. I'm not protecting him, I said. You're protecting your mother from finding out her son's name can be typed into an email. I'm protecting clients from family details that don't help them. That is a more professional answer. It's also true. I didn't say it wasn't. I sent the email at 2:14. At 2:23, Marcus replied, "Thank you for clarifying. Again, I'm sorry. I have deleted the file and emptied my trash folder." At 2:27, a client named George asked whether the notice had anything to do with a lawn company calling him. At 2:31, Ryan called. I let it ring once before answering. "What did you send?" he asked. "A security notice. To everybody? To everyone on the export. You made me sound like some hacker. I didn't mention you." Marcus knew. Marcus already knew what you did. You said unauthorized access. The access was unauthorized. You left the computer open. In my office. You asked me to be there. To build shelves. I was helping you. And while you were helping, you copied my client list. He was breathing hard. I could hear a car door slam. "You have no idea what this is doing to me," he said. I almost asked if he knew what it was doing to me, but we had already held that contest too many times. "What is it doing to you?" "My friends think I lied to them." "You did. I told them you'd see the potential. That wasn't yours to promise. They put time into this. So did Catherine Bell. Here we go?" "Yes. Here we go." She canceled. Gloria Patel canceled. Evelyn had a stranger sitting outside her building after she said no. Travis left. "Because I called him. I was going to handle it." "When? I don't report to you." My office door opened. Ryan walked in with his phone against his ear, still talking to me from 12 feet away. Simone looked up from her desk. "That's unnecessarily theatrical." He ended the call. His cheeks were red from the cold, and his hair was windblown. He had a manila folder tucked under one arm and the offended posture of someone arriving to correct a customer service problem. "You changed the lock," he said. I glanced at the keypad beside the door. "Yes." "Because of me?" "Yes." He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "At least you're honest. Eventually you run out of softer words." He dropped the folder on my desk. "I printed the move file. I can see that. You didn't include your full vendor list. I included everyone already considered for Mom and Dad. Hank is the only mover. Hank is the only mover we discussed. So who else do you use? I'm not giving you my directory. This isn't about your precious leads. It's for Mom and Dad. Then get estimates." "I am getting estimates." "Good." He stared at me, waiting for the rest. There wasn't any. Simone stood. "I'm going to get coffee." "You have coffee," Ryan said. "I'm going to get coffee you haven't breathed near." She took her purse and left. Ryan watched the door close. "She hates me. She hates chaos. Same thing to you two." He opened the folder and spread my parents' floor plan across the desk. The clear sleeve had already been removed. A coffee ring marked the guest room. "I booked Travis to look at the hauling Thursday," he said. "Shane's coming to estimate paint. Luis may be able to help with storage. Does Mom know? She said she wants things moving. Does she know these are the same people who receive my client list? She knows they're my friends." "That's not what I asked." He tapped the paper. "Can you finish this room?" "No. It'll take you 10 minutes. Then it'll take you 10 minutes. I don't use these programs. It's graph paper. The measurements are confusing. They're inches. Why are you doing this?" I leaned back. "Doing what?" "Watching me struggle with something you could fix. You wanted to run a home network." His eyes narrowed. "You think this is funny?" "No. I think you liked the word network because it made other people's work sound like something you owned. That is such garbage. Then tell me what you've built." I brought people together with my list. It got them interested. There it was. Not an apology, but something closer to the truth. "They weren't taking you seriously," I said. He looked away. "Were they? Everybody's busy. So you offered them clients. I offered them a reason to make time. You used my credibility to buy their attention." "You don't know what it's like." I laughed softly. "To need people to take you seriously? To have everything you try compared to somebody who's already good at it?" The anger in his face shifted. For a second, he looked younger, though not innocent. Ryan had spent years hearing Mom explain his unfinished projects as evidence that he was still searching. My finished ones had become evidence that I could handle more. "I didn't ask them to compare us," I said. "You don't have to. You walk in with your binders and your calendar and everybody relaxes. I walk in and they check whether their wallet's still there. That isn't because of me. No, it's because I made mistakes." "Yes." He flinched. "I could have softened it. I nearly did." "You're allowed to recover from mistakes," I said. You're not allowed to recover by giving away my work." He gathered the pages into the folder, bending one corner. "Mom says you're punishing her. I'm letting her use the person she chose. She chose both of us. She chose you and assigned me to supervise. She needs help. She has help. You know I can't do all this. Then tell her. You know what she'll say? That you're trying? That you have a good heart? That I should be patient?" His mouth tightened. "She doesn't expect you to do it," I said. "That's why she can give it to you so easily." He shoved the folder under his arm. "Thursday at 10, he said. "Travis and Shane are meeting us at the house. I won't be there. It's your parents' move. It's your network." He walked out without saying goodbye. Simone returned carrying 2 coffees and a blueberry muffin. Did he leave? Yes. Did he steal anything else? Only the floor plan I sent him. She handed me a coffee. Growth. Mom created a group text that evening titled Mercer Move Team. The first message was a photograph of a stack of boxes with the caption, "Progress." The second was from Ryan, "Travis plus Shane coming Thursday 10. Leah, please attend so we can all align." Dad replied with a thumbs up. I typed, erased, and typed again. "I won't be there." Ryan has the current file and all measurements completed so far. Mom called immediately. "You can't give us 1 hour. I'm working Thursday, reschedule. I'm not canceling another client. This is family. So was dinner." She was silent for a beat. "I don't like who you become when you're angry. I don't like who everybody expects me to become when Ryan makes a mess. I'm asking you to stand in a room and answer questions, and then check the estimates, make the schedule, correct the measurements, call the vendors, and remind everyone what they promised. You don't know that." "I do, Mom." Her voice trembled, just enough to make me hate myself. "I'm scared about this move. The fight went out of me, but not the boundary. I know. I don't recognize half my life in boxes. I know. What if we make the wrong choices? Then some furniture won't fit. Some boxes will go to storage. You'll change your mind about things. None of that will ruin your life. I want you there. As your daughter or as your move manager? Why are you forcing me to choose? Because you keep choosing both and paying for neither." She inhaled sharply. I closed my eyes. "I can come Saturday morning and pack the framed photographs with you. Just us. No vendors, no scheduling, no estimates. What about Thursday? Call Ryan." The line stayed quiet long enough that I checked whether she had hung up. Then Mom said, "He doesn't always answer." "I know." That was the first time she sounded as though she knew too. Neither of us said anything for a few seconds. Then Mom cleared her throat. "Saturday at 9? 9 is fine. Bring the black markers. Your father bought blue. Blue works. Blue is for storage. You can still write with it. This is why systems matter, Leah." I bit the inside of my cheek. "I'll bring black markers." She hung up sounding calmer, having secured one useful object from me. Thursday morning, I turned my phone face down before meeting Evelyn at Brookside. I had brought her printed schedule in a slim white binder, along with a revised contact sheet containing only Simone's number and mine. Evelyn examined every page at her dining table. "You changed the typeface," she said. "We made it larger. I didn't ask for larger. You held the last schedule near a lamp. The lighting in here is terrible. I also changed the paper. That must be the problem." She looked over her glasses at me, then turned the page. The schedule laid out the next 4 weeks in clean blocks: packing, furniture pickup, donation collection, move day, unpacking. No outside vendor appeared without a name, phone number, and note explaining exactly what the person would do. Evelyn tapped Hank's name. "Have you used him before?" 23 times. "Has he ever dropped a piano?" "Not for me." "Has he moved 23 pianos?" "You don't own a piano. I'm evaluating his general character." My phone vibrated against the table. "Mom!" I let it stop. Evelyn kept reading. "That woman calling repeatedly? Yes, she has stamina. She considers it concern. Those are not mutually exclusive." My phone vibrated again. This time, it was Dad. Then Simone texted, "Your mother has called the office twice. I told her you were with a client. She said she knows." Evelyn turned another page. Answer if you need to. I don't. You looked at it. I'm learning not to. That sounds exhausting. It's new. She accepted the schedule without asking for another change. Before I left, she handed me a small cardboard box containing 6 porcelain birds. These go in my car, she said, not the truck. I'll add them. Don't write fragile on the box. People see fragile and become curious. What should I write? Bathroom. I wrote bathroom in black marker. When I got back to my car, there were 4 messages from Mom. The first said Travis's estimate was too high. The second said Shane could not paint until the furniture was moved, which apparently ruined the order. The third asked where the townhome elevator instructions were. The fourth said, call me. Ryan isn't answering. I listened to all 4, then drove back to work. Simone had arranged 3 sticky notes along the edge of my monitor. Yellow is your mother, pink is your father, orange is a man named Shane, who sounded like he wished he had never learned your last name. What did Shane want? He asked whether your parents expect him to paint the old house, the new townhome, or both. What did Ryan tell him? Yes. I called Shane. He answered from somewhere echoing. I heard Mom's voice in the background saying, that wall isn't beige. Leah, he whispered. Thank God. I'm not involved in the estimate. Just tell me which property. You'll have to ask Ryan. I did. He said your mom wants everything fresh. That sounds like both. Your dad says the old place only needs touch-ups. Your mom wants the townhome painted before furniture arrives. Ryan wants an accent wall in the den because it'll photograph well. I closed my eyes. Why does it need to photograph well? He says this could be a showcase project? No, I didn't think so. Shane, did you delete my client list? There was a pause. Yes. This morning. Why this morning? Because Ryan said you two would work it out, and now I'm standing in your parents' living room while everybody gives me different instructions, and you're not here. It wasn't exactly remorse, but it was honest. Thank you for deleting it. I didn't call anybody. Thank you for that, too. Can you please tell your mother beige comes in more than one shade? No. He sighed. Worth a try. Mom called while I was still holding the phone. I declined it. At 1, Dad texted, found elevator info, page 14. At 1:15, Mom texted, Travis says, quote, doesn't include packing. Why would we hire a hauler who doesn't pack? At 1:30, Ryan finally appeared in the group conversation. Was in meeting. We'll call Trav. Mom replied, what meeting? He did not answer. At 3, Travis left me a voicemail. Hey, Leah, your family's kind of all over the place. I'm trying to help Ryan, but your mom thinks my guys are doing the pack for free, and your dad keeps asking if we're insured. Call me so we can get aligned. I deleted the message. At 4, Dad called again. I know you're working, he said. Yes, your mother's upset, I figured. Travis wants more than Hank's usual rate. Hank is a mover. Travis hauls unwanted items. Those are different services. That's what I said. Good. But Ryan says Travis can bring in a moving crew. Then Ryan needs to confirm what they do, what they charge, and what happens if anything is damaged. Dad was silent. What? I asked. He says you usually handle that. I do when someone hires my company. You'd charge us? He sounded hurt, which irritated me more than if he had sounded angry. I've already given you months of work for free. I didn't mean, I know you didn't. That's the problem. None of you count it as work when I do it. We appreciate you. Appreciation isn't the same as permission. He exhaled slowly. I'm not asking you to take it back over. I'm asking what questions to ask. That was different, barely. I gave him 5 questions. I did not call Travis, compare rates, or interpret the answers. Dad wrote them down. Before we hung up, he said, Ryan thought his friends would give us a family rate. Do his friends know that? I don't believe so. Saturday morning, Mom opened the door before 9. She was dressed in old jeans and one of Dad's sweatshirts, with her hair pulled through the back of a baseball cap. She looked younger and more vulnerable without lipstick. You brought the markers, she said. I promised. The living room had deteriorated since Sunday. Green and yellow stickers appeared on the same chairs. A lamp stood upside down in a laundry basket. Someone had written, "Keep," across a sealed box, including the question mark. "What happened?" I asked. Ryan said we needed to consolidate. What does that mean? He had Travis move everything for donation into the garage. I looked toward the hallway. Didn't we already separate donations by pickup organization? Apparently Travis can take all of it. Does he know some pieces are being picked up by the church resale shop? Mom's mouth tightened. "We are doing photographs today." I let it go. We worked at the dining table with a shallow plastic bin between us. Mom had kept photographs in envelopes, cookie tins, and one shoebox that smelled faintly of cinnamon. We sorted them into albums, frames, and archive boxes. There was a picture of Dad standing beside the townhome model with a paper cup in his hand. Mom traced the edge with one finger. "He looks old," she said. "It was taken in March. I know when it was taken." She set it face down. The next photograph showed Ryan at the opening of a restaurant where he had worked briefly. He wore a black shirt and an expression of complete belonging. "He was so happy there," Mom said. "He quit after 6 weeks. The owner was impossible." Ryan scheduled 3 bartenders for the same shift and none for the next one. He was learning. I found a photograph of myself cutting a ribbon outside Quiet Moves. Simone stood beside me holding scissors because I had forgotten to bring any. Mom and Dad were there. Ryan was not. He had promised to come, but texted that morning saying he had food poisoning. 2 hours later, he posted a picture from a golf course. Mom smiled at the photograph. "That was a beautiful day. It was. I was so proud of you." She said it easily. That was the maddening thing. I believed her. We packed in silence for a while. At 11, Ryan arrived carrying a cardboard drink tray. "I brought coffee," he announced. Mom's face brightened. Perfect timing. He handed me a cup. "Oat milk, 1 sugar." I took it despite myself. "Thanks." He knew my coffee. He knew I hated raisins and salad and loved old mystery movies and could not sleep if a cabinet door was open. Love had never been the missing part. "How did Thursday go?" I asked. Mom and Ryan answered at the same time. "Fine," he said. "Terribly," she said. Ryan put his cup down. It was an estimate. Estimates are information. "Travis wants $9,000, Mom said, for hauling, packing, and moving. He said packing wasn't included. That was before I talked to him. Dad entered carrying a roll of blue tape. He also wants half up front." "That's normal," Ryan said. "It is not always normal," I said. Mom looked at me immediately. "What is normal? I'm not reviewing the estimate." "You just said," "I said not every service requires half up front. That isn't a review." Ryan leaned against the table. "Hank requires a deposit. Hank reserves a date with a deposit. That's different from paying half an undefined job. So you have reviewed it." "I haven't seen it." Mom stood and retrieved 3 stapled pages from the kitchen counter. She placed them beside my coffee. "Just look at the description," she said, "not the prices." "No, you've already started." "No," I answered one question. Ryan laughed under his breath. "This is insane." "What is?" "You're sitting in their house with a marker in your hand pretending you aren't helping. I'm packing photographs with Mom, which is part of the move. It's also something I would do if she weren't moving." Mom's expression softened, then hardened again because tenderness was not getting the estimate reviewed. Ryan tapped the pages. "You're really going to let them sign something bad to teach us all a lesson?" Dad looked at me. There it was, the handoff. Ryan could make the decision. Mom could insist on it. Dad could avoid it, but if anything went wrong, the responsibility still traveled across the table to me. I slid the estimate toward Ryan. "You brought Travis here," I said. "You explain it. I don't understand all these terms." "Then call him. He doesn't answer on weekends." Mom looked at Ryan. "You said he was available any time." "He is, usually." "Call him." Ryan glanced at me. Mom followed his eyes, caught herself, and looked back at him. "No," she said. "You call him." Ryan picked up his phone. He walked into the hallway, and for once, nobody asked me to follow. Ryan's voice carried from the hallway. "Hey, Trav, call me back. My parents have questions about the scope." He returned to the dining room and placed his phone beside the estimate. "Voicemail," Mom said. "He'll call. You said he answered any time." I said, "Usually." Dad peeled a strip of blue tape with his teeth. "Don't do that," Mom said. "I'm taping. You'll chip a tooth. I've been opening tape this way since 1978. And how many original teeth do you have?" Dad lowered the roll. I put 3 photographs into an archive sleeve and kept my eyes down. Ryan sat across from me. "What are you smiling at?" "Nothing." "You love this." "I love Dad losing an argument to his own dental history." "No. You love watching me deal with this." Mom looked between us. "Can we not ruin the photographs?" "We're not touching the photographs," Ryan said. "She means the morning," I said. His phone rang. He snatched it up. "Trav, hey, I'm here with my parents." He put the call on speaker without asking Travis, the one form of sharing he understood instinctively. Travis sounded half asleep. "What's up?" "My mom wants clarification on the estimate." "What clarification?" Mom leaned toward the phone. "Does the $9,000 include packing?" A pause. "I gave Ryan an option with packing and one without," Travis said. Ryan shuffled the pages. "Which one is this?" Dad asked. 9 is with packing," Travis said. 6-2 is without. "There's no 6-2 here," Mom said. Ryan flipped the pages faster. "I texted it to him," Travis said. "I didn't print that version," Ryan replied. "Then print it." Mom's eyes closed briefly. Dad picked up the first page. "How many people are on the crew? Depends who's available." "That isn't a number. Probably 4. "Are they movers?" "They're guys who move things." Dad looked at me. I picked up another photograph. "What happens if something breaks?" Dad asked. "We're careful." That wasn't the question. Ryan held up a hand as if Dad needed to be managed. "Trav, he's asking about coverage." "Yeah, we can work that out." "How?" "We'll work it out." The room went quiet. Travis continued. "Look, this is a friend price. A regular company's gonna charge way more." Dad looked at the pages again. Hank's preliminary range was $7,500. "That's before add-ons," Ryan said. "Hank listed the add-ons," I said before I could stop myself. 4 heads turned toward me. I lifted both hands. "That is the only comment I'm making." Travis said, "Who's that?" Ryan stared at the phone. "Leah." "Oh, hey, Leah." "Hello, Travis." "Did you get my voicemail?" "Yes. You could have called me back. I'm not coordinating this move." Mom pushed the estimate away. "We need to think." "Sure," Travis said. "But I can't hold the weekend without a deposit." "What weekend?" Dad asked. "The 3rd. "We never agreed to the 3rd, Mom said. Ryan rubbed his forehead. "It was a placeholder. Our townhome isn't ready until the 5th. I thought it was the 1st. It was never the 1st. Travis sighed into the speaker. "Why don't you guys sort out the date and call me?" He hung up. Mom stared at Ryan. "You told him the 3rd? "I was trying to reserve options. You cannot move our furniture into a townhome we don't have. I know that now." Dad folded the estimate and unfolded it again. "Maybe we should call Hank." Ryan's face hardened. "Of course." "What does that mean?" Dad asked. "It means Leah sits here refusing to help," says one sentence, "and suddenly everybody wants her guy." "Hank isn't my guy," I said. "He owns a moving company that you recommended after using him 23 times. Right. Nobody else gets a first chance because you've already decided who's legitimate." Mom reached for Ryan's hand. "We haven't decided anything." There was the reflex, quick as blinking. Ryan had created a useless estimate for the wrong date, and Mom comforted him before she responded to the problem. He pulled his hand away anyway. "I'm going to the garage," he said. "Why?" Mom asked. "To fix the donation area." I waited until the door shut behind him. Mom gathered the photographs into a neater stack. "He's under pressure." From the move he asked to run? He wants to prove himself. Dad muttered, "I'd settle for him proving the date." Mom shot him a look. We finished the photographs at 12:30. I labeled 4 boxes, albums, framed, archive, and Mom's car, and carried nothing else. The estimate stayed on the table. At the front door, Mom hugged me longer than usual. "Thank you for coming," she said into my shoulder. "You're welcome. Will you take the archive box to your office?" "Why?" "It's climate controlled. So is your house, but everything's moving around." I looked at the box. It contained photographs, Dad's service records, their marriage certificate, and Mom's folder of warranties for appliances she no longer owned. "I'll take it temporarily." Her shoulders dropped in relief. Behind her, Ryan came in from the garage with dust on his jeans and a shallow cut along one forearm. "Travis put the cedar chest in donations," he said. Mom went pale. "What?" I moved it back. "My mother's letters are in there. They're fine. Why would he mark it for donation?" He didn't. One of the stickers fell off. Mom hurried past him toward the garage. Ryan watched her go, then looked at the archive box in my arms. "So you'll store that, but you won't help. I said I'd pack photographs. You always find a technical way to look generous." The accuracy of the insult depended entirely on ignoring the last 3 months. "You found the cedar chest," I said. "Good job. Don't talk to me like I'm 12, then stop demanding a prize for correcting a mistake." His face changed. I regretted it before he answered, but regret and surrender were no longer the same thing. "I didn't move the chest," he said. "I didn't lose the sticker." "No, but you're coordinating. That means everything is my fault? It means you're responsible for solving it." He laughed bitterly. "That's convenient. It's the exact standard you've all used for me." I carried the box to my car. Monday brought 9 replies to our security notice. 7 clients thanked us for being honest. George sent a photograph of the lawn company flyer he had received, which turned out to have nothing to do with Ryan. One former client asked to be removed from all records, then called 15 minutes later to make sure we would still remember the name of the auction company she liked. Catherine's refund cleared. I watched the amount leave our account and felt the loss in a way the spreadsheet had not managed. Money was abstract until it moved. Simone set a stack of intake forms on my desk. "We can fill some of the Bell dates." "With what?" "Short jobs, closet resets, donation sorting, unpacking. Those don't replace a full relocation." "No, but 5 smaller things can replace part of one large thing. They also require 5 times the scheduling." She smiled. "Good thing you employ a scheduling genius. You called Hank twice last week because you forgot you'd already called him. That was relationship building. We spent the afternoon contacting people we had previously turned away. It felt humbling, but not hopeless. A retired professor named Leonard booked 2 days of unpacking. Another client wanted help reducing 3 storage units to 1. None of it erased Catherine. It did remind me that a client list was not a pile of guaranteed money. Every name still required trust, timing, and work. At 5, Marcus came by the office. He held up both hands when he entered. "I'm not selling anything." Simone pointed toward the keypad. "We're sensitive," I noticed. He carried a paper bag from the sandwich shop downstairs. He put it on my desk. "Peace offering. You already apologized." "I know. This is for what I'm about to tell you." I opened the bag. 2 chocolate chip cookies. "That bad? Ryan asked me to help move your parents." "That isn't bad. He asked me to tell them I'm part of Mercer Home Network." I closed the bag. "What did you say?" "I said I'd help lay flooring if they hire me to lay flooring. I'm not pretending we run a company together. That seems clear." He didn't take it clearly. Marcus leaned against the meeting table. He was broad-shouldered, with permanent pale lines across his fingers from flooring adhesive. "He's calling everybody disloyal," he said. "Travis wants his deposit. Shane doesn't want to go back until someone chooses a paint color. Luis was never interested in any of this. So there is no network. There's a group text. That's not the same thing. You'd be surprised how many businesses start as group texts." He smiled, but it faded quickly. "Ryan really thought this would work," Marcus said. "I know. He wasn't trying to hurt you. I know that too." Marcus looked surprised. "He was trying to make something for himself," I said. "He just decided my clients were building materials. That sounds like Ryan." The office phone rang. Simone answered, listened, then handed it to me. "It's your mother." I took the receiver. Ryan found the cedar chest, Mom said. I heard. He spent all day yesterday reorganizing the garage. That's good. He worked very hard. I believe you. She waited, apparently expecting more praise to arrive if she stayed quiet. What do you need, Mom? We decided not to use Travis for the full move. That sounds sensible. But Ryan arranged for his friends to help us pack next Sunday. Okay, he says it will save money. Maybe. Could we borrow your van for the donation runs? No. The word came out calmly. I was getting better at that. It would only be for the day. My van is insured and scheduled for work. On a Sunday? We have an estate clear out. She sighed. Then could you move that job? No. Ryan already told everyone the van would be available. I looked at Marcus. He had heard enough to lower his eyes. Then Ryan needs to call everyone, I said. Mom was quiet. This time, when she spoke, she sounded less frightened than tired. He says nobody answers when he calls. Marcus looked up. I thought of 63 people answering for me because I had earned it one kept promise at a time. Then he'll have to keep calling, I said. Marcus waited until I hung up. Want me to call him? No. I could explain that people are avoiding him because he keeps turning favors into business arrangements. He needs to figure that out. I'm not sure figuring things out is Ryan's preferred learning style. It isn't mine either, apparently. Simone took one of the cookies from the bag. I learn best through snacks, Marcus pointed at her. That one was technically mine. You brought cookies into a compromised environment. He surrendered the second one, too. Ryan eventually answered Mom because the group text lit up at 9 that night. Got it covered. We don't need Leah's van. Mom responded with 3 heart emojis. Dad asked, "What are you using?" Ryan replied, "Working on it." No one asked another question. Sunday's estate clear-out belonged to Ruth Calder, a retired pharmacist selling her sister's condominium. Ruth had hired us to sort the final rooms, deliver selected furniture to an auction house, and take everything else to donation before the building's loading window closed at 4. At 8:15, Simone and I were carrying flattened wardrobe boxes through Ruth's lobby when my phone began vibrating. Mom, only Shane is here. Do you know where Marcus is? I showed it to Simone. Do you know where Marcus is? She asked. No. Then this is an easy one. I put the phone back in my pocket. Ruth met us upstairs wearing linen pants, gardening clogs, and a name tag she had apparently forgotten to remove from an earlier volunteer shift. I have made decisions, she announced. That sounds ominous, Simone said. I've labeled everything. The first label we saw said, possibly keep if space. The second said, donate unless valuable. The third, attached to a floor lamp, said, Leah, decide. Ruth pointed at it. You have better taste than I do. I own 3 identical black shirts. That suggests commitment. We began in the dining room. I kept one ear tuned to my phone even with the sound off. It vibrated against my hip every few minutes. Dad, Ryan says Marcus had a flooring emergency. Mom, Louise thought this was next week. Ryan, I said this Sunday. Louise, you said Sunday on Tuesday. I thought you meant after we confirmed the truck. Ryan, why are you saying this here? Louise left the group. Simone read over my shoulder when we stopped to wrap glass shelves. That is the cleanest exit I've ever seen, she said. At 10:30, Mom called. I answered because Ruth was in the bedroom deciding whether her sister's sweaters should go to the women's shelter or the church sale. Shane has to leave, Mom said. Okay. He thought he was painting. Yes. He brought paint clothes. That makes sense. We need packers. Then Ryan needs to hire packers. He says his friends are helping as a favor. His friends seem confused about the favor. He's in the garage arguing with Travis. Travis is there? He came for the donation items, but he brought a pickup truck. The cedar chest alone would fill it. The cedar chest isn't a donation. I know that now. I closed my eyes. Mom lowered her voice. Can you send Simone with the van? Across the room, Simone was kneeling beside a box of stemware, wrapping each glass in paper. She looked up at hearing her name. No. You don't both need to be there. Yes, I do. Couldn't she come for 2 hours? We're working under a building loading schedule. So are we. No, Mom, you're packing at home. What if we miss the donation center? Arrange another day. That means everything stays in the garage. For a few days. You know how your father gets when the garage is blocked. Dad's voice came faintly through the phone. I'm standing right here, Carol. Then stop listening, she called. I heard Ryan say something in the background, followed by a door slamming. Mom, I have to work. You're choosing strangers. Ruth hired us. We're your parents. And Ryan is coordinating your move. He can't coordinate people who don't show up. That is part of coordinating. Mom went silent. I softened my voice. You're not moving today. Nothing terrible happens if the donations wait. It feels terrible. I know. That was all I could give her without stepping back into the job. Ruth reappeared holding 2 sweaters. Do these look equally warm? Mom heard her. Go, she said. Your client needs you. It was not a generous sentence, but I took the permission anyway. At noon, Ryan called. I was on the condominium floor with an Allen wrench, dismantling a table that had apparently been assembled by someone who hated future generations. Where are you? He asked. At work. Mom says your job ends at 4. It does. The donation place closes at 5. I'm not bringing the van. You'll be done. The van will be full. Unload it. At the office? By myself? Bring Simone. She's also been working all day, so have I. His voice sounded strained, not performative. I sat back on my heels. Who came? I asked. Shane. Travis. Marcus stopped by for an hour. That's more than it sounded like. Shane taped 6 boxes and left. Travis wanted $600 to make 2 dump runs. Marcus fixed a loose transition strip Dad found while he was here, which was not even on today's list. Did you agree to pay them? They're my friends. That isn't an answer. I told them the network would create work. What work? The whole point was that we'd refer each other. Who was going to provide the referrals? He didn't answer. I tightened another bolt in the wrong direction and swore. What? Ryan asked. The table. Is that a metaphor? No, it's Swedish. He breathed out, almost a laugh. Then Mom shouted his name from somewhere behind him, and the brief human moment closed. I have to go, he said. But I need the van. No. Leah. No. What am I supposed to do? Rent one, reschedule, pay Travis, make 2 trips in your car. Those are all normal choices. My car won't fit half this stuff. Then not that choice. You already have accounts with rental places. I'm not booking it through my company. Why? Because then I'm responsible for the vehicle and the charges. I'll pay you back. He said it automatically. For a second, neither of us spoke. Mostly, I thought. I'm not doing it, I said. He hung up without saying goodbye. We finished Ruth's condominium at 3:48. The van was packed tightly enough that a folded chair would have required its own zip code. Ruth stood on the loading dock checking items against a yellow pad. You took the lamp, she said. You told me to decide. What did you decide? Donation. I knew I could trust you. The sentence caught me at an angle. She signed the completion sheet, then looked at the van. Do you have another job today? No, you keep checking your phone like somebody thinks you do. My parents are packing for a move, and they need the van. How did you know? I was a pharmacist for 38 years. People only stare at phones that way for family or insurance companies. Simone climbed into the passenger seat. Sometimes both. Ruth patted my arm. Go home after you unload. I intended to. At 6:20, I was standing at a Thai restaurant ordering 4 dinners. I told myself food was not project management. Food was dinner. Food was what I would have brought if Mom had the flu or Dad had spent the day repairing the fence. Food did not require a spreadsheet. The argument became less convincing when I added disposable plates. Mom opened the door looking exhausted. Her hair had escaped the baseball cap in gray wisps. A strip of packing tape clung to one sleeve. You came. I brought dinner. Her eyes moved past me toward the driveway. The van isn't here. We unloaded at the office. Oh. She stepped aside. The house looked as if boxes were reproducing. Half-filled cartons blocked the hallway. Packing paper covered the sofa. The coffee table had been moved against the wall, and the lamp that had been upside down in a laundry basket was now upright, but wearing the basket like a hat. Dad was asleep in his recliner with a marker in one hand. "Where's Ryan?" I asked. "Garage." I found him sitting on the concrete floor beside the cedar chest, eating pretzels from a vending machine bag. Sweat had dried dark around the collar of his t-shirt. A scrape crossed one knuckle, and there was dust in his hair. The garage was not organized, but it was better. Donation boxes lined one wall. Green stickered furniture sat near the door to the house. The cedar chest had a new label written in letters large enough to read from traffic. Storage. "Do not donate. Mom will kill me." I handed him a takeout container. "What is it?" "Pad CU. With chicken?" "Yes." He took it. "Thanks." I sat on an overturned crate. "You did a lot." He looked around as though unsure whether I was mocking him. "Most of this was on the driveway at noon," he said. "Then it started looking like rain, so you moved it back. Dad helped until Mom yelled at him for lifting a box wrong." "There are many ways to lift a box wrong. Don't encourage her." He opened the container and ate standing over it, too hungry to wait for a fork. "Where are they eating?" he asked. "Kitchen." "She'll make me go in there." "That's usually where people eat. I need 5 minutes where nobody asks me where the tape is." "The tape is on Mom's sleeve." He looked at me, then laughed despite himself. I handed him a fork. After a few bites, he said, "Travis deleted your file." "Did he tell you that?" He showed me. "Email, downloads, everything. Thank you for asking him. I didn't do it for you." "Okay." He wanted the deposit for Mom and Dad's move. I told him we weren't using him. "What changed?" "He's not a mover." "No. He owns tie-down straps and talks confidently. That's a dangerous combination." Ryan pushed noodles around the container. "Marcus says the network isn't real," he said. "What do you think?" "I think it could have been." "With my clients?" "With enough business coming in, yes." "That was my business coming in. You weren't going to use Travis. That doesn't make Evelyn available to him." He looked toward the open garage door. The sky had darkened to a heavy gray, but no rain had started. "They listened when I had the list," he said. It was the first time he had spoken about it without wrapping the fact in opportunity or synergy. "And now?" I asked. "Now they want to know what else I bring." I waited. He gave me a tired, angry look. "You don't have to enjoy it." "I don't." "Yes, you do." Everybody was right about me. "I don't think everybody was right." "What does that mean?" "You stayed today. It's my parents' house. You've used that sentence to explain why I should do things." He looked down at the food. Inside, Mom called, "Ryan, where are the black markers?" His jaw flexed. "On top of the dryer," I said. He frowned at me. "How do you know?" "Because that's where she always puts things she doesn't want Dad to lose." Mom called again. Ryan set the container down and started to stand. I touched his arm. "Finish eating. She'll keep yelling." "Yes." "You're not going to get them?" "No." He sank back onto the cedar chest. Mom called a third time. Then Dad's voice answered from inside. "Carol, they're on the dryer." Ryan and I sat in the garage, listening to someone else solve it. The silence felt strange enough to be mistaken for peace. Then Ryan said, "I still need a mover." "You do. Are you going to recommend one?" "No." He nodded, as if he had expected that answer and hated that expecting it did not make it easier. "How am I supposed to know who's good?" "The same way I found out." He looked at me. I stood and brushed dust from my jeans. "You call people," I said. "You ask questions. You check what they've done. You don't promise anything that isn't yours. That takes forever." "Yes." From the kitchen, Mom called his name again. This time, before Ryan could answer, Dad said, "Let him eat, Carol." Ryan stared toward the house. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't justice. It was one small interruption in a pattern so old we had mistaken it for the shape of the family. He picked up his fork. I went inside before either of us could make it mean too much. Mom had arranged the takeout containers on the kitchen table as if presentation could make them less accusatory. "You bought too much," she said. "I bought 4 dinners. There are 5 of us." I ate with Simone. That was not entirely true. Simone and I had shared a vending machine pretzel while unloading the van, but I wasn't giving Mom a reason to transfer half her food onto my plate. Dad opened his container. "What is this?" "Basil chicken. It's spicy. You haven't tasted it. I can see the pepper." Mom took the container from him and handed him mine. "Leah got noodles. Ryan has noodles," I said. "There are more noodles." The garage door opened. Ryan came in carrying his dinner and sat without comment. For a few minutes, everybody ate. Mom asked whether the rice was supposed to stick together. Dad found a piece of basil and moved it to the edge of his plate. Ryan finished half his food before he seemed to remember he was angry. Then Dad said, "We need to book a real mover." Ryan looked up. Mom gave Dad a warning glance. "We need to explore options. We explored Travis. Other options." Dad turned to Ryan. "Call that Hank fellow tomorrow." I felt Ryan look at me. I kept eating. "He works with Leah," Ryan said. "He has a telephone," Dad replied. A smile nearly escaped me. Dad saw it and pointed his fork in my direction. "Don't encourage me." Mom folded her hands. "Hank may not have the date. Then Ryan can ask what dates he has." "You want me to change the whole move around one company?" Ryan said. "I want you to find out whether they're available before we argue about it." Ryan leaned back. "Fine." Mom looked at me. "Do you think Hank?" "No," Dad said. The word surprised all of us, including him. He cleared his throat. "She already said she's not coordinating." "I was asking her opinion," Mom said. "You were going to ask if she thought he'd be available. You don't know what I was going to ask." Dad found another piece of basil and ate it on principle. Ryan looked down at his food. I stayed until the containers were empty. I did not label boxes, check the garage, or review the estimate still sitting on the dining table. When I left, Dad was showing Ryan the 5 questions he had written down. The following morning, Hank called my office. "I've got your brother on the other line," he said. "That sounds like a personal problem. He says he's coordinating your parents' move." "He is. Am I allowed to talk to him?" "You're allowed to talk to anyone." "You know what I mean. Treat him like any new customer. Don't use my account, don't give him my rate, and don't assume I'm supervising." Hank whistled softly. "That bad? That clear? All right, I'll keep you out of it." "Thank you." He paused. "Your dad still have that giant workbench?" "Yes. He'll try to help carry it. Yes, I'm charging extra if he touches it. That seems fair." Hank hung up. I spent the rest of the morning at Leonard's townhome, unpacking books into shelves, arranged by a system only he understood. Philosophy went in the living room, fiction in the den, and biographies in the hallway because, according to Leonard, people should have to pass judgment before using the bathroom. At noon, Simone brought sandwiches and a printed list of the remaining people who had received the client file. Marcus, Luis, Shane, and Travis had confirmed deletion. Brent had not. "He sent me a message," Simone said. "What did it say?" "He'd like to resolve the matter in a way that respects everyone's professional investment. He invested 3 phone calls. He seems very proud of them." I called Brent again and reached voicemail. "Brent, this is Leah Mercer. Confirm today that you have deleted the file and all copies. You do not have permission to retain or use the information." Leonard appeared in the doorway holding 2 books. Should dead philosophers be shelved separately from living ones? They're all dead eventually. That is organizationally useless. He walked away. At 2, an email arrived from Catherine Bell. I opened it expecting a question about her refund. Instead, it contained a forwarded voicemail from Brent. He had called her again that morning. He said he understood she had changed move coordinators and wanted to discuss protecting the liquidity created by the sale. Catherine wrote only, "I thought this had been handled." I stared at the sentence. Simone read it over my shoulder. "Call Ryan. He'll say Brent is a grown man." He is. He's also the grown man Ryan introduced to her. I called. Ryan did not answer. I called again. His voicemail invited me to remember what to do. I left a message. Brent contacted Catherine again. Call me. 5 minutes later, Ryan texted, "Dealing with mover. Call you later." I sent him Catherine's forwarded voicemail. He called immediately. "I didn't tell him to do that. You gave him her information. I told him to pause. You needed to tell him the list was unauthorized." I did. "When?" "After dinner. Show me the message. I don't have to prove every conversation to you." "Then call him now. I'm in Hank's parking lot." "Good. You have privacy. I'm negotiating Mom and Dad's move. Then you understand the value of completing one job before starting another." He swore under his breath. "Call Brent," I said. "He doesn't work for me. You made him believe he worked with me. He should know better than to call somebody twice after they aren't interested." "Yes, he should. You should also tell him the truth." "What truth?" "That I never approved the list, that there is no partnership, that you offered something that wasn't yours." He went quiet. "That's what you really want," he said. "You want me to say it that way. I want him to stop calling people." "No, you want me humiliated. I have been apologizing to clients for 2 weeks, and you want company." The sentence was cruel because it contained a small piece of truth. I did want him to feel the weight. Not suffer exactly. Stand where I had been standing. "I want you to carry your part," I said. He hung up. 20 minutes later, the office door opened. Ryan came in holding a mover's brochure and an unsigned estimate. He put his phone on my desk. "Call him." "No, you want this done." "Call him." "You call." His jaw worked. "Fine." He tapped Brent's name and put the phone on speaker. Brent answered with, "Ryan, I was about to call you. Did you contact Catherine Bell again? She hasn't committed to a consultation, if that's what you mean. She told Leah you called. I followed up. That is standard. Delete the spreadsheet." There was a pause. "I've already explained that the data has been incorporated into my prospect system. I don't care where you put it. Delete it. You told us this was an approved collaboration." Ryan looked at me. I said nothing. Brent continued. "You specifically said Leah Mercer was resistant to changing her process, but that you had family authority to develop the network. I didn't say family authority. You said, 'She's my sister. I can get her there.'" Ryan closed his eyes. "Brent," he said, "she didn't approve it." "Then why did you send it? Because I thought she would. That is not what you represented. I know. I spent hours reviewing those contacts. I know. My name is now tied to a privacy problem. So is hers. That was your doing." Ryan flinched as though Brent had raised his voice, though he hadn't. "Delete it," Ryan said. "All of it. Don't contact anyone again. I need written confirmation that I won't be blamed for using information you provided. Write whatever you want. Just say in it that Leah didn't authorize anything." Brent exhaled sharply. "You've put everyone in an impossible position." "No," Ryan said. "I put you in a bad position. I put Leah in a worse one." I looked at him. His eyes stayed on the desk. Brent said, "I'll confirm deletion by the end of the day." The call ended. Ryan picked up his phone. "Thank you," I said. "Don't. I mean it. Are you happy?" "No. You should be. He thinks I'm an idiot. I don't care what Brent thinks of you. Everybody says that when they're getting exactly what they wanted. What I wanted was for you not to take the list. Well, we can't travel backward, Leah. No. We can only stop walking in the same direction." He gathered the mover's brochure. I noticed the estimate. Did Hank have the date? The 7th. 2 days later than Mom wanted. Is the townhome manager okay with that? I called. Yes. What about the house? We're not closing until the 12th. That was the first time he had answered every obvious question before I asked it. What's the problem? I said. Hank costs $8,400 with packing. That sounds possible. Mom thinks it's too much. Dad thinks it's worth it. They want to vote. Then vote. It's 3 people. Then someone loses. They want you to break the tie. No. He laughed without humor. You really love that word now. I'm learning it. He turned toward the door. Ryan. He stopped. You made that call. I know, I was there. That's all I was going to say. He looked back at me, expression unreadable. Then he held up the estimate. I already signed it. I blinked. Mom agreed. No. Dad did. He's paying the deposit before she can change her mind. That should be an interesting evening. He told her you weren't getting a vote because you weren't getting the blame. I sat very still. Ryan opened the door. Don't make it a thing, he said. He'll probably take it back by dinner. He left before I could answer. At 5:43, Brent emailed confirmation that he had deleted the file from his contact system, email, downloads, and backups. He added 3 paragraphs explaining that he had acted in good faith. I forwarded the confirmation to Simone. She came into my office, read the chain, and looked at the list on my desk. That's everyone. Yes. Are we celebrating? I don't know. We have half a cookie Marcus brought. You ate both cookies. I saved a professional amount. She opened her desk drawer and produced a broken piece wrapped in a napkin. We split it. My phone buzzed with the Mercer Move team. Dad, Hank booked for 7th, deposit paid. Ryan, packing starts 6 at 8. Mom, I still think we could have found something more reasonable. A minute passed. Then Dad replied, We tried reasonable. Now we are doing reliable. I read the message twice. Mom did not answer. Neither did I. Mom sent me a private message 20 minutes later. Your father embarrassed me in the family chat. I typed, He disagreed with you. That is not the same thing, and you know it. I erased my reply. A second message arrived. Please bring the archive box back before strangers start handling everything. I almost pointed out that she had asked me to store it specifically because strangers were handling everything. Instead, I wrote, I'll bring it on the 5th after work. She replied with a check mark, which somehow conveyed disapproval more efficiently than any punctuation. The week before the move, Ryan became alarmingly competent. He confirmed the elevator window, scheduled Hank's packing crew, arranged keys with the townhome manager, and sent the group a color-coded schedule that used my original categories. He called Dad twice to verify the workbench dimensions. He made Mom choose paint colors by putting 3 sample boards against the wall and refusing to discuss a 4th. I learned all of this from the group chat because I did not ask. Mom posted questions addressed to everyone that were clearly meant for me. Does anyone remember whether the green stickers mean townhome or storage? Can someone confirm how many wardrobe boxes are coming? What happens if the cedar chest doesn't fit? Ryan answered each one. Townhome, 8, storage. Mom corrected his spelling twice and thanked him once. At work, we filled 4 of the days Catherine's move had left empty. Not all of them, and not at the same rate, but enough that I stopped opening the financial schedule before breakfast. The client notice also produced conversations I hadn't expected. Some people told us they appreciated the honesty. Others wanted every piece of information we held about them read aloud over the phone. George asked us to remove his gate code, then called back after locking himself out and asked if I happened to remember it. I did. I thought you deleted it, he said. I deleted it from the database. I still have a brain. That seems like a security flaw. Evelyn's packing stayed on schedule. She continued to inspect every vendor as if assembling a jury, but she let Hank's crew wrap her dining table without supervision. For Evelyn, that was practically a parade. On the 5th, I carried Mom's archive box from my office to the car. Simone followed me outside with a roll of black tape. For emotional emergencies, she said, I'm not packing. I know. You just look like someone whose mother will produce one last box. I have markers, too. Of course you do. When I reached my parents' house, Ryan's car was in the driveway. The front door stood open, and a cold draft moved through rooms that already sounded different. Rugs had been rolled. Curtains were down. Without fabric and furniture absorbing noise, every footstep seemed impatient. Mom was in the dining room wrapping serving bowls in newspaper. I brought the archive box. Put it in my car. Your car is full. It isn't full. The back seat held 3 lamps, 2 framed prints, a grocery bag of cleaning products, and the porcelain spaniel Dad had won at a church raffle in 1989. It's full, then rearrange it. Ryan came down the hall carrying a box marked DEN, cord/misc/do not lose. Put it in mine, he said. Mom looked at him. You leave your car unlocked. I don't. You did at Easter. I was parked in their driveway. Crime travels. I set the archive box on a dining chair. It can go with you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be chaos, Mom said. Then decide where you want it now. She looked around helplessly. Ryan pointed at the coat closet. Top shelf. We'll load it last. Mom opened her mouth. Top shelf, Dad called from the living room. Good idea. She let Ryan put it there. I should have left then. Instead, I walked through the house. The yellow walls in my old bedroom looked brighter without furniture. Dad's den smelled like cardboard and dust. In the kitchen, rectangles of clean paint marked where the calendar and spice rack had hung. There were no dramatic ghosts, no sudden rush of childhood, just evidence of things removed. Mom found me standing by the empty pantry. You used to hide the good cookies on that top shelf, she said. You hid them. From your father. I knew where they were. You never told Ryan. He would have eaten them all. He still would. We smiled at the same time. Then she said, You could come tomorrow morning. There it was. Hank has a crew. I don't mean to work. Just be here. I have a client intake. One intake. Yes, you could move it. No. Her smile disappeared. I don't understand why you need to keep proving this. I'm not proving anything. You made your point. Ryan has done the calls. He booked the mover. Everybody knows you can say no now. It isn't a demonstration, Mom. I'm working. I'm leaving my home of 32 years. I know. And you're going to sit with a stranger and discuss closets. Yes. She flinched. I hated how harsh it sounded. I hated that softening the sentence would not change the choice. I can come after work, I said, as your daughter. What does that even mean? It means I'll sit with you. I'll bring dinner. I'll listen if you hate the townhome. I won't direct the crew or fix the schedule. Why must every act of love have a job description? Because mine keeps turning into one. Ryan had come into the kitchen. He stood in the doorway without interrupting. Mom saw him and straightened. Tell her I haven't asked for anything unreasonable. Ryan looked at me, then at her. You asked her to move her client meeting. It's one meeting. She said no. Mom stared at him. He rubbed the back of his neck. We have it covered. She laughed once sharply. You have no idea what tomorrow will be like. Neither do you. I know moving is difficult. Then let it be difficult without making it Leah's fault. Mom's face went blank. Ryan looked as surprised as she did. Dad appeared behind him holding a screwdriver. Anybody know where the bag for these is? Mom walked past all three of us and went upstairs. Dad watched her go. What did I miss? Everything, Ryan said. Packing started at 8 the next morning. I knew because the group chat began at 7:43. Hank, crew on site. Dad, coffee ready. Mom, they brought 9 wardrobe boxes. Ryan said 8. Ryan, extra is not a crisis. Mom, I did not say crisis. At 8:20, while I sat with a new client named Alice Morgan, my phone lit up with a photograph of 2 identical lamps. Mom, which one did we mark storage? Ryan, left. Mom, my left or photo left? Ryan, there is only one photo left. I turned the phone face down. Alice had spent 9 months avoiding her late partner's office. She wanted help converting it into a reading room but kept apologizing whenever she changed her mind about a book. We spent 2 hours making only 6 decisions. They mattered to her. When I turned my phone over, Ryan had answered 14 questions. Dad had sent a photograph of his thumb after hitting it with a hammer, and Mom had announced she was never moving again. No one had called me. I arrived at the townhome the following afternoon at 4:30, after most of the furniture had been delivered. The move had not gone smoothly. The cedar chest did not fit where Mom wanted it. The storage facility had no record of a reservation because everyone had assumed someone else completed it. Hank's crew had spent an hour waiting while Ryan secured a larger unit at the full same-day rate. 3 boxes marked donation had been loaded onto the moving truck, while 2 green stickered chairs remained in the garage at the old house. Ryan solved each problem, but every solution cost time or money. The truck that should have been finished by 6 was still being unloaded after 8. Mom stood in the townhome living room surrounded by boxes, staring at her sofa. "It's too big," she said. "It fit." Technically. The arms cleared the walls by 4 inches, but the room felt built around it. "We measured it," she said to me. "Yes. You said it would fit. I said it would physically fit. That is a meaningless distinction. It doesn't feel that way now." Dad sat in his recliner, which had been placed in the only spot that allowed him to see both the television wall and the small patio. "I like it," he said. "You like rooms full of furniture," Mom replied. "I like having somewhere to sit." Ryan entered carrying the porcelain spaniel. "Where does this go?" "Storage," Mom said. "Townhome," Dad said. Ryan looked at me. I looked at the spaniel. Its painted eyes had been surprised for 37 years. "Not my vote," I said. Ryan set it on the windowsill. Neutral territory. Mom pressed her fingers to her forehead. "Where are the sheets?" "Primary bedroom boxes," Ryan said. "There are 11 primary bedroom boxes. The sheets box says linens. They all say linens. You own a lot of linens." "I knew this would happen," she said, looking at me. "I said we needed detailed labels." Ryan's shirt was damp with sweat. "You changed categories halfway through packing. I refined them. You put towels in 3 rooms. They belong in 3 rooms. Hank walked in holding a clipboard. "We need a decision on the garage items. Overtime starts at 8:30. "What garage items?" Mom asked. "The 2 chairs, workbench, and donation boxes at the house. The workbench is going to storage," Dad said. "The storage truck already left," Ryan replied. Mom looked at me again. I moved beside her and took her hand. "I don't know," I said. Her fingers tightened painfully around mine. "You always know. Not this time." Hank waited. Ryan closed his eyes for 1 second, then opened them. "Chairs come here. Workbench stays overnight. Donation boxes stay. I'll handle them tomorrow." Dad started to object. "Tomorrow?" Ryan repeated. "The crew is done after the chairs." Hank wrote it down and walked out. Mom released my hand. "This is costing a fortune." "Moving costs money," Dad said. "It would not have cost this much if everything had been organized." "It was organized," Ryan snapped. "Then everybody changed their minds. You were responsible for tracking the changes. And I did. Not well." The words landed harder than she intended. Ryan stared at her. I had spent years hearing gentler versions of the same criticism redirected toward me. "You know how he is. You should have checked. You should have reminded him." Now Mom was finally speaking to the person responsible, and I discovered it did not feel good. "He handled today," I said. Both of them looked at me. "There were problems," I continued. "He made decisions. The furniture is here." Mom gestured at the boxes. "Somewhere." "Yes. That is what moving looks like at 8 o'clock. Ryan turned away, but I saw his shoulders drop. We ate pizza on paper plates because nobody could locate the silverware. I found forks in a convenience store bag and did not count that as project management. At 9:15, Hank's crew left. At 9:20, Dad found the sheets in a box marked primary, soft. At 9:30, Mom began crying over the porcelain spaniel. Not because it was broken. It wasn't. She sat on the sofa holding it in both hands and said it looked ridiculous in the new room. Dad tried to reassure her that it had looked ridiculous in the old room too. This did not help. I sat beside her until the crying slowed. I did not explain that grief likes an object. I did not tell her she would adjust. I held her hand and let the spaniel stare at both of us. When I stood to leave, she said, "Stay. I have to work tomorrow." Of course. The bitterness returned so quickly that I almost sat back down. Instead, I kissed her cheek. "Call me when you wake up," I said. "As my daughter?" "Yes." She looked at the boxes covering the room. What if I need someone else? Call Ryan. She said nothing. Ryan was outside breaking down pizza boxes beside the recycling bin. You leaving? He asked. Yes. I still have to go back for Dad's workbench tomorrow. I heard. Travis will haul the donations for $400. Clear scope? 2 loads, tomorrow. No packing, no client list, no future empire. That sounds clear. He crushed a box harder than necessary. Mom says I ruined the move. She's overwhelmed. That's what everybody says when she hurts someone. I had no answer that didn't implicate me, too. Ryan tossed the cardboard into the bin. You defended me, he said. You handled today. That isn't why. No, I said. It isn't. He looked toward the lit windows of the townhome. Dad passed through the living room carrying the porcelain spaniel. She was easier when you were the one disappointing her, Ryan said. I wasn't disappointing her. I was failing to prevent you from doing it. He laughed once, tiredly. That sounds worse. It was. My phone rang. Mom. Ryan and I both looked at the screen. Answer it, he said. I did. I can't find the box with the medications, Mom said. Before I could respond, Ryan held out his hand. I gave him the phone. Ryan put the phone to his ear. Mom, slow down. Where did you last see them? He listened. No, not at the old house. You had them this morning. Another pause. Check the reusable grocery bag behind the driver's seat. He walked toward the townhome while Mom talked. No, the blue one. Dad's tool bag is black. He disappeared through the front door. 2 minutes later, he returned and handed me my phone. She found them. Good. She put them in her car so the movers wouldn't take them. That makes sense. She accused Dad of moving the bag. That also makes sense. Inside, Mom called Ryan's name again. He looked at the door, then at me. You can go. It did not sound like dismissal. It sounded like permission from someone who finally understood why I needed it. I drove home. The next morning, Mom called at 7:10. I answered from bed. Did you sleep? I asked. Your father snores differently in this room. How? Louder. Dad said something muffled in the background. He says the walls are closer, Mom reported. That's not how sound works. He says you're not an acoustics expert. Neither is he. She was quiet for a moment. The coffee maker is here, but the filters are not. Call Ryan. I'm not calling him at 7 in the morning for coffee filters. You called me. That's different. No, it isn't. Her sigh came through the phone in stages. I only wanted to hear your voice. The sentence disarmed me more effectively than any accusation. You can call me for that, I said, but not for filters. Correct. What if the filters come up naturally? Then we can discuss their emotional significance. She laughed unwillingly. Dad found them before we hung up. They were in a box marked kitchen paper, which Mom said was a ridiculous category until I reminded her she had written it. Ryan and Travis cleared the old garage that afternoon. Travis sent a final invoice for $400, exactly as agreed. Ryan texted a photograph of the empty donation wall to the group. Dad replied, "Good work." Mom asked whether the blue chair had gone by mistake. Ryan sent another photograph showing the chair in the storage unit. Mom replied, "Thank you." It was the second time she had thanked him directly. No one thanked me for checking. I hadn't checked. At quiet moves, life became ordinary in uneven pieces. George stopped asking about the gate code. Leonard approved the biography shelves, though he moved 2 former presidents into philosophy for reasons of tone. Evelyn changed her mind about the recliner twice and finally decided to take it after Simone sat in it and said, "This chair has seniority." The 6 dates we lost from Catherine's relocation became 4 smaller jobs and 2 empty days. The empty days still bothered me, but they no longer felt like proof that everything was collapsing. We replaced the office lock with a system that logged temporary codes. Simone made Ryan's old code 0000 and labeled it never. "That's not a real code," I said. "It's emotionally real." The shelves stayed. For a while, I considered taking them down. Every time I reached for a moving blanket, I remembered Ryan at my desk with chips over the keyboard, the export created while I bought screws, and his certainty that I would come around. But the shelves were level. They held what I needed. Removing them would have been another form of pretending the useful and the hurt could not come from the same person. Dad called on the 11th, the day before the old house changed hands. "Your mother wants to do a final walkthrough," he said. "Does she want me there?" "She says no." "What do you say?" "I say she asked me to call you." I smiled despite myself. "What time?" We met at 6. The house looked smaller, empty. The nail holes had been filled, the floors swept, and the windows cleaned. Ryan stood in the living room with a plastic grocery bag containing 3 outlet covers, a loose cabinet knob, and the porcelain spaniel. "I thought that was at the townhome," I said. Dad put it in his car. Dad held up both hands. "It needed to come home." "It was home," Mom said. "The new home." "Then why was it in your trunk?" "I was transporting it emotionally." Ryan laughed. Mom did not. We walked through each room without much to say. Dad checked windows. Ryan opened closets. Mom touched walls. In the pantry, she stood beneath the shelf where the cookies had been hidden and stared at the clean rectangle left by the spice rack. "I thought I'd feel something bigger," she said. "What do you feel?" I asked. "Tired. That's allowed. I keep remembering things that don't matter. They matter if you remember them. That sounds like something from a greeting card. I'm tired too." She leaned her head against my shoulder for a few seconds. Then she straightened and asked, "Did you confirm the donation receipt?" "No." Her face closed. "Ryan handled the donations," I said. "I was asking if you knew. I don't." She walked out of the pantry. The moment vanished so completely I wondered whether I had invented it. Dad found me in the garage after the others went upstairs. The workbench was gone, leaving a dark strip on the concrete and 4 screws nobody could explain. "I owe you an apology," he said. He was looking at the screws. "For what?" "A long list, probably. That's specific. I'm working up to it." I waited. He put the screws in his pocket. I thought staying calm was the same as being fair. "You were very calm. I see that now." Some apologies arrive polished, with all the correct parts in order. Dad's came like a box packed by Mom, several categories mixed together, something sharp wrapped in a dish towel. "I should have called Ryan when this started," he said. "I didn't want him angry at me." "So you let him be angry at me?" "Yes." The word hurt less than an excuse would have. Dad rubbed one hand over the bare place where his workbench had stood. "Your mother worries he'll disappear if we push too hard. She doesn't worry about me disappearing. We never thought you would." "I know." He finally looked at me. "That was not the compliment we treated it as," he said. "No, I don't know how to fix years of it." "You don't?" He nodded. "I can do better now," he said. "That would help." He opened his arms awkwardly and I hugged him. Dad smelled like dust and the peppermint gum he chewed when nervous. When we stepped apart, he said, "Do not tell your mother I had an emotion in the garage. I'll put it in the archive box. She'll never find it." We left the house at 7:30. Mom locked the front door, then checked it twice. Ryan offered to drive her back to the townhome. She refused, accepted, and then insisted Dad follow in his car because Ryan took corners too quickly. I drove alone. Sunday dinner resumed the next week in the townhome. Mom did not cook. Most of her serving dishes were still boxed, and the kitchen made her angry. Ryan brought rotisserie chicken. Dad made instant mashed potatoes with too much water. I brought a salad that contained apples. Ryan noticed. "You made my salad." "I made a salad. It has the pecans." "I like pecans." Mom watched the exchange with a small, satisfied smile, as though the appearance of pecans proved the family had returned to its proper shape. We ate at the dining table with the leaf removed. The table fit better than the sofa. For 20 minutes, conversation stayed safe. Dad complained about the townhome thermostat. Ryan described an interview for an operations job with a regional flooring supplier. Mom asked whether the position had benefits before she asked whether he wanted it. Then she turned to me. Are you still keeping our photographs at your office? No. The archive box is in your coat closet. I haven't seen it. Top shelf. Ryan put it there, Dad said. Mom looked at him. I know who put it there. She took a drink of water. What about the warranties? She asked me. They're in the archive box. And the townhome documents? Ryan has the move file. I mean the final copies. Ask Ryan. Her fork touched her plate with a sharp click. Ryan went very still. Do you intend to answer every question that way forever? Mom asked. When Ryan has the answer, you know where things are. Sometimes. You know what I mean. I did. She did not want information. She wanted the old route to it. Dad said, Carol? No. I am tired of measuring every word because Leah has decided normal family conversation is an attack. I didn't say that. You make us all afraid to ask you for anything, only because you don't like hearing no. That isn't fair. Neither was calling what Ryan did sharing. Ryan put down his fork. Mom's face tightened. Must we go through that again? The information is deleted. Your business survived. Ryan has apologized to the people involved. He hasn't apologized to me. The silence was immediate. Ryan looked at his plate. Mom said, He called Brent in front of you. That was not an apology. He fixed it. After I lost a client, spent 2 weeks contacting everyone and asked him repeatedly, What do you want from him? I wanted someone besides me to call him when it happened. We all spoke to him. No. Dad asked me to keep dinner calm. You called me to explain his intentions. Every client called me. His friends called me. You called me. Nobody called him until I stopped taking your calls. That is simply not true. Dad spoke quietly. It is mostly true. Mom turned toward him. So now this is 3 against 1. It isn't a vote, he said. It feels like an ambush. I pushed my chair back slightly. I don't want to ambush you. You want to punish me. I want a relationship with you that isn't built on how useful I am. I have never used you. You asked me to quietly supervise the move after you gave it to Ryan. I was scared. I know. You keep saying that as if understanding me excuses you from caring. I came. I packed photographs. I brought dinner. I sat with you while you cried. And then you left. Yes. Her eyes filled, which made mine burn in response. Our bodies remained loyal even when our arguments did not. You used to call every morning, she said, because there was always a task. That isn't why I called? Then call without one. I don't know what I'm allowed to say anymore. Say you miss me. Mom looked down at her hands. Ryan spoke before she could answer. She didn't leave you, he said. She left the job. Mom stared at him as if he had betrayed her. He swallowed. And I think, he continued, maybe we made those the same thing. Mom's eyes moved from Ryan to me and back again. What does that mean? She asked. Ryan rubbed both palms against his jeans. It means you gave me the move, but you still expected Leah to do it. I expected everyone to help. No, you expected her to make sure my help worked. That isn't true. It is. He looked at the table instead of her. I expected it too. Mom sat back. I don't understand why you're suddenly agreeing with everything she says. I'm not. Then stop acting like you are. Ryan's mouth tightened. Normally, that tone sent him toward the nearest exit. He stayed in his chair. When I sent the list, he said, I knew Leah would be mad. That has been established, Dad said. I thought she'd be mad, then she'd look at the idea, fix what was wrong, and make it legitimate. I stared at him. You expected me to build the network after you announced it. I didn't think of it that way. How did you think of it? He gave a helpless little shrug. I thought you'd come around, because you told your friends I would, because you always do. The words hung there. Ryan looked up at me. You get angry. You say we've gone too far. Then Mom calls. Dad asks you to be reasonable, and you figure out a version that won't collapse. Mom shook her head. You're making Leah sound like a victim of being capable. That's exactly what you've been doing, I said. I've always admired your capability. You used it. So now, appreciating you is using you. No, giving Ryan my work because you were sure I could survive it was using me. She stood and carried her plate to the sink, though it still held half her dinner. I cannot sit here while every kind thing I've ever said is turned into evidence. Dad started to rise. Let her stand, Ryan said. Mom turned. Excuse me? She always has to sit back down so we can finish the conversation comfortably. Let her stand. I almost laughed. The sentence was mine in shape, even though I had never said it. Mom gripped the edge of the counter. I was trying to keep this family together. Together isn't the same as unchanged, Dad said. She looked at him. You have become very wise since the garage. Dad frowned. Leah told you? No, you've had the face all week. What face? The face you have after you discover your own behavior. Ryan glanced at me. There's a face? It's subtle. Dad muttered something about hostile dining environments. The ordinary rhythm loosened the room for a second. Mom's shoulders lowered, but she did not sit. I did call Ryan, she said. After I stopped solving it, I replied. What difference does the timing make if he corrected it? Catherine didn't come back. Mom's expression shifted. She had been treating the lost job as a temporary consequence, something that would reverse once everyone calmed down. She hired someone else? She asked. Yes. You never told me. You never asked what happened to her. You asked whether the $18,000 was profit. Dad closed his eyes. Mom looked toward the window. Outside, the townhome patio light reflected off the glass, turning the room back on itself. I didn't know what to do, she said. You could have called Ryan. I knew you would know how to fix it. That's the problem. I know that now. She said it quietly enough that I almost missed it. Ryan leaned his elbows on the table. You told me she'd get over it. Mom turned. I was trying to calm you down. You told me she was being territorial. You were upset. So was she. That is different. Ryan and I looked at each other. Mom heard the sentence in the silence. Her face changed. I said that? More than once, I said. She returned to the table but did not sit. Her fingers traced the back of her chair. You didn't need the same things, she said. Ryan needed reassurance. And I needed what? Freedom. Trust. I needed somebody to defend me when he took something. I thought you could defend yourself. I did. Then you told me I was hurting him. Mom's eyes filled again. Dad reached for her hand. She let him take it. With Ryan, she said, I always knew how to be useful. He called. He needed rides, money, advice. You had a plan before I knew there was a decision. That didn't mean I didn't need a mother. I know. No, Mom. You knew I wouldn't ask twice. She sat then. Ryan stared down at the remains of his salad. I thought her work just kept coming back. I looked at him. He struggled for the words. Clients, jobs, whatever. You'd lose something and replace it. You always made it look like there was more. There was more because I worked for more. I know. You know now. Yes. Mom wiped one eye with the side of her finger. I called it sharing because the other words sounded ugly. Taking, Dad said. Not helping, Ryan offered. Stealing, I said. Mom flinched. Not the identities, I continued. Not money. But he took access that belonged to me. I didn't want that to be true, she said. Because of Ryan? Because of me. If it was stealing, then I defended it. Nobody rescued her from the sentence. She looked at me. I should have called him, she said. Before I called you, before I told you to be calm. I should have asked him what he did and told him to undo it. It was the sentence I had wanted so badly at the beginning that hearing it now felt almost unfamiliar. Yes, I said. I'm sorry. Ryan shifted. So am I. I turned to him. He swallowed. I know that isn't enough. It isn't. Mom looked startled, as if apologies were supposed to close the account instantly. Ryan only nodded. Okay, I'm not trying to punish you. I know, I don't trust you around my business. I know that too. You won't have access to the office. I won't hire you between jobs. I'm not introducing you to clients. His jaw tightened, but he nodded again. Mom started, "Leah." Ryan held up a hand. "Don't." She stopped. That mattered almost as much as the apology. I looked at Mom. "I want to see you. I want dinners and phone calls and breakfast. I do not want to manage this house. I don't want tasks assigned before I'm asked. If I say no, I need that to be the end of the question. What if I think you're saying no because you're angry? Then I'm still saying no." Dad nodded slowly. "That seems clear." Mom gave him a look. "You enjoy clarity when it's not directed at you. I'm learning." She folded and unfolded her napkin. "What happens when we need help?" she asked. "You ask. Either of us can answer." Ryan said, "And if I say yes, I do it." Mom looked at him as though the idea had both pleased and alarmed her. "And if neither of you can?" she asked. "You hire someone," I said. "Families shouldn't have to hire strangers for everything." "No, but families also shouldn't turn one person into the unpaid department for everything." Dad raised his hand slightly. "For the record, I can change my own thermostat. You called the utility company because the display was dim," Mom said. "The batteries were low. You didn't know it had batteries. I know now." Ryan stood and collected the plates. Mom watched him carry them to the sink. "You don't have to wash those." "I brought the chicken. Leah brought the salad. Dad made potato water. You can sit." They were mashed potatoes. They moved when the table moved. Dad examined the bowl. "That is fair criticism." Ryan ran water into the sink. Mom looked at me. "Twice a month? What? Breakfast." "You said you wanted breakfast." "I didn't specify a schedule." "You would have eventually." "Twice a month is good." "Which weeks? We'll decide later." She made herself tolerate that. The first breakfast lasted 40 minutes. Mom arrived at the diner 10 minutes early and brought a folder containing the townhome appliance warranties. She placed it on the seat beside her without mentioning it. We discussed Evelyn's porcelain birds, Dad's campaign against the thermostat, and the woman across the street who put artificial flowers in real soil. When the check arrived, Mom glanced at the folder. "I need to register the dishwasher," she said. "Ryan can help you." She opened her mouth, closed it, and put the folder back in her bag. Then she asked whether I wanted to split a piece of pie. Some calls remained tests. Mom would ask how my day was, listen for 3 minutes, then casually mention that the hallway picture looked crooked. I would tell her to straighten it or call Ryan. Sometimes she became quiet. Sometimes she laughed at herself. Once she hung up and called back to admit she had been trying to make me volunteer. Dad called Ryan about the thermostat. Ryan went over, replaced the batteries, and left without asking me where Mom kept them. Quiet moves did not recover Catherine's job. There was no satisfying reversal in which she returned and apologized for doubting me. She sent Claudia a photograph of her new house after another company moved her, and Claudia forwarded it to me without comment. I looked at the picture, wished Catherine well, and archived the email. Evelyn moved on October 14th. She rode in my van with the box marked bathroom belted into the back seat. Hank's crew delivered the recliner to Brookside, where it fit perfectly beside the window. Evelyn sat in it, looked around her new living room, and said, "I suppose your brother didn't ruin everything." "No? Did he learn anything?" "I think he learned lists contain people. That would put him ahead of most sales departments. Before I left, she handed me one of the porcelain birds. "I can't take this." "You're not taking it. I'm sharing it." She watched my face for a second, then laughed so hard she had to sit down. I kept the bird on my desk. Ryan got the operations job with the flooring supplier. Mom announced it in the family chat before he had accepted the offer. He made her delete the message and told us himself the next day. He did not ask me for a reference. Several weeks later, he came to the office carrying 2 coffees. He stopped outside the glass door when the keypad rejected his old code. Simone looked at me. "Should I release the hounds?" "We don't have hounds. I can make a sound." I opened the door. Ryan held up my coffee. "Oat milk, 1 sugar. I have a meeting in 20 minutes. I only need 5. He sat at the meeting table. not at my desk. For a while, he turned the coffee cup between his hands. "I'm sorry," he said. "Not just for sending the list, for knowing you'd have to fix it and doing it anyway." I said nothing. He continued, "I was jealous that people trusted you. I thought if I could bring my friends a piece of that, they'd trust me too. Did it work? For about 3 days. Then what? Then they asked what I had done to earn it. The answer seemed to embarrass him, but he stayed. Mom really did tell me you'd catch things," he said, "for years. I started hearing it as permission. She didn't make you copy the file." No, that was me. There it was. No misunderstanding, no network, no better intention placed between him and the thing he had done. "I accept your apology," I said. He nodded. "I'm still not giving you office access," I figured. "And I'm not putting your flooring company on a preferred list. I didn't ask. No." He smiled slightly. "Growth? Maybe." When he left, he took his empty cup and did not touch the shelves. My meeting arrived 5 minutes later. Her name was Margaret Ellis. She stood in the doorway holding a notebook against her chest and looking as if entering the office required more courage than she wanted me to notice. "Evelyn Ward gave me your number," she said. I smiled. "That sounds like Evelyn. She said you're the person to call when everything feels unmanageable." On my desk, the porcelain bird faced the window. Behind me, the shelves held blankets, labels, and exactly what I had chosen to put on them. I opened my calendar. "Tell me what you need," I said.